Chapter 290. While Yu Yang and Impatience were hugging each other intimately, Duan Mu Long Chung, Tian Quan, and Qi Liao immediately unsealed their innate powers. Tian Quan's power was even stronger than Yao Guang and Kai Yang. His unsealed innate power had reached innate level 3. His aura exploded, forming a shockwave that shook the whole ground. The one who was even stronger than Tian Quan was the demon innate Qi Liao. They were both innate level 3, but Qi Liao was obviously stronger than Tian Quan. The hellfire that he released clashed with Tian Quan's aura, creating a deafening sound of thunder. At the place where the two's auras clashed, the space seemed to have been shattered. The dark and scorching hellfire splashed all over the sky, and the ground turned into a terrifying sea of fire. Sand and gravel were burning. Duan Mu Long Chung, this cunning fellow, unsealed his innate power in silence. There was no shockwave or flames. A dim yellow light expanded silently, forming a light circle with a diameter of 100 meters, surrounding Yu Yang and Impatience. Shun Tian didn't unseal his innate power. He summoned a crystal-clear diamond grimoire that shone with 7 colors. He pressed lightly on the diamond grimoire with one hand, summoning his guardian beast. It was a diamond-ranked level 9 humanoid beast, a golden giant that was almost 5 meters tall. He wore an emperor's crown on his head, a gold and white heavenly emperor's armor, and a gold-swallowing dragon fish sword at his waist. Roar Fury, the golden-colored giant, who looked like an emperor, shook his hands and pressed them down. The tyrannical might of an emperor was like a golden tornado, and the might of the pressure was even more terrifying than Machi Su Ling's domain of gravity, which was 20 times stronger. Woof! Hui Tai Lang and the thorny flower demoness sensed the danger and quickly hid beside Yu Yang. The ground where Yu Yang and Impatience were standing on silently caved in. Although Yu Yang had immediately summoned his silver grimoire, the grimoire shield that he had raised up was still a little unable to withstand the pressure that came crashing down from the sky. The shield was deformed and caved in slightly. Yu Yang was surprised. Even someone as strong as Demon King Ha Xin needed to pierce the grimoire's protective shield with one finger before he could break through. This great emperor of Ji Wei, Shun Tian, didn't even make a move. He only summoned a beast to attack. Moreover, it was a pressure that came from distance, yet it already had the power to break through the grimoire's protective shield. Looks like this diamond-ranked level 9 golden giant was a super strong beast that was at least a holy beast. What was even more puzzling was that this golden giant was also a guardian beast. As long as its master didn't die, it would never truly die. Under the attack and pressure of this diamond-ranked level 9 holy beast, Yu Yang was unable to protect himself. It seemed like it would be difficult for him to fight back against the great emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian. Lord Shun Tian, let's go to a more open place to fight. We can't fight freely in this small place. Impatience's killing intent flashed in her beautiful eyes. She ignored the pressure from the diamond level 9 golden giant in the sky and floated up into the air easily. Before she turned into a shooting star and disappeared, she waved her hands at Yu Yang. She smiled charmingly and said, "Little thief, you dare to be rude to me. Wait for me to come back. I'll definitely settle the score with you, you little hoodlum." Yu Yang laughed loudly. "I'll definitely wait for you to come back. You can push me down forcefully or not." Impatience smiled when she heard this. Her red lips, white teeth, bright eyes, and jade-like cheeks shone with a breathtaking radiance when she smiled. Her bouncing breasts were really captivating. Yu Yang's eyes were glued to the screen, and his saliva almost flowed out. Impatience was overjoyed when she saw this. She first gave him an electrifying look and then blew him a passionate kiss. "If you haven't been crippled, I'll think about it." Wah! Yu Yang felt that his heartbeat had increased to at least 500 beats per minute. He was so excited that he almost exploded. Not only was Impatience's body hot, her attitude was also hot. She didn't reject Yu Yang's teasing like other girls. Instead, she turned around and teased him. Yu Yang started to fantasize. If he really had the chance to tease this Impatience further, would she really push him down? A happy push. I'm really looking forward to it. Yu Yang secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He watched as Phoenix Fairy Beauty turned into a stream of light, streaking across the sky and disappearing into the distant mountains. He still couldn't stop his imagination from running wild. The great emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian, followed behind. Before he left, his eyes flashed as he glanced at Yu Yang. He seemed to have used the ant language to communicate with Duan Mu Long Cheng. He even left the golden giant behind to help him before chasing after the Phoenix Fairy Beauty. The battle between Shun Tian and Tian Fa might not be able to determine the winner within 1,000 moves. The difference in their strength was not big. Even if he, the great emperor of Jiwei, was slightly stronger, he wouldn't be that much stronger. The real battle would be the battle between Duan Mu Long Cheng and Yu Yang. As long as Duan Mu Long Cheng could kill Yu Yang, it wouldn't matter if the winner between him and Tian Fa was decided or not. With the Green Summit sect leader, Duan Mu Long Cheng, a level 6 innate ranker, and 2 level 3 innate rankers, Tian Quan and Shi Liao, if they still couldn't defeat the level 3 innate Yu Yang, then Duan Mu Long Cheng and the others should just commit suicide. Shun Tian believed that his plan wouldn't change because of any factors. No matter how heaven-defying, cunning, and abnormal Yu Yang was, he would definitely lose. Shun Tian was different from Yu Yang, who was still fantasizing about impatience before the battle. The ascetic practice saint and the scholar had already started their battle with the Jin Kingdom's tall and short heavenly imperial guardians. They were both heavenly imperial guardians and were level 5 innate rankers. Without a third party's help, it would be hard to determine the winner even if they fought for a day and a night. Rumble. A large part of the mountain in the distance collapsed due to the ascetic practice saint's attack. On the other side of the mountain, the scholar angrily controlled his hurricane and chased after the enemy in front of him. His opponent was the Jin Kingdom's tall heavenly imperial guardian. As the scholar's opponent, he wasn't anxious at all. He fought like a snake because he knew that the longer the battle dragged on, the more advantageous it would be for him. At this time, the 2 innate rankers, Tian Quan and Qi Liao, didn't care about the innate alliance's rules at all. They kept summoning their beasts, preparing to surround and kill Yu Yang. The beasts that Tian Quan summoned were all flying-type beasts. Gold-ranked level 7 Storm Griffin, gold-ranked level 7 Red-Crowned Flying Dragon King, gold-ranked level 6 Giant Swallowing Bat, and also gold-ranked level 6 Eagle Demoness. His plan was to use the flying-type beast's speed and agility to attack the Thorny Flower Demoness beside Yu Yang. With the help of Duan Mu Long Cheng's weakening domain, even the diamond-ranked Thorny Flower Demoness wouldn't be able to escape from the encirclement of his flying-type beasts. She was destined to die on the spot. Furthermore, that seemingly powerful Thorny Flower Demoness was only diamond-ranked level 1. The Thorny Flower Demoness was an expert in summoning thorny flowers from the ground. The sea of flowers was terrifying. It wasn't strange for the King of Blacklight, who couldn't leave the ground to be defeated by her. However, would the situation be the same when the Thorny Flower Demoness faced 4 flying-type beasts? Duan Mu Long Cheng's could weaken any living being within his domain of weakening by 10 times, including innate rankers who were weaker than the owner of the domain of weakening. Under such circumstances, how could the Thorny Flower Demoness reverse the situation? That was simply impossible. Qi Liao's goal was to kill Hui Tai Lang. This demon innate had summoned all fire-type, gold-ranked beasts. 9-headed fire snake, Cerberus, magma giant, magma wyvern, and the fire demoness with a flaming whip. Within the weakening domain, there were hellfire everywhere. Hui Tai Lang had to deal with 5 gold-ranked level 6 and even gold-ranked level 7 fire-attributed demon abyss gold-ranked beasts. Forget about Qi Liao, who didn't believe that Hui Tai Lang could win. Even Yu Yang felt that Hui Tai Lang wouldn't be able to win this battle. He wouldn't be afraid to fight one Hui Tai Lang alone, but fighting a group of them? It was really hard to say. Yu Yang's enemies were much stronger and more numerous. His greatest enemy was the innate level 6 Duan Mu Long Cheng, the Green Summit sect leader. He was an extremely strong innate who possessed the weakening domain. His strength could even surpass the legendary Demon King. Yu Yang didn't have level 5 divine vision at that time, so he couldn't see through Demon King Ha-Xion's hidden strength. However, Demon King Ha-Xion's strength at that time should be on par with Duan Mu Longcheng's current strength. If Demon King Ha-Xion didn't hide his strength, then he might not be able to defeat Duan Mu Longcheng, who possessed the weakening domain. Yu Yang didn't look at Tian Quan and Qi Liao. These two innate level 3 fellows seemed to be slightly weaker than the diamond-ranked level 9 golden giant that Shun Tian left behind. There was no way for Yu Yang to notice their existence. The golden giant's Emperor's pressure and Duan Mu Longcheng's weakening domain complemented each other, making it even more powerful and effective. Yu Yang couldn't help but pay more attention to this diamond-ranked level 9 golden giant. All right, since you want to bully me with numbers, then I won't be polite. Yu Yang summoned the quintet golden puppet mice, adding 5 more beasts in one go. Tian Quan spurted out water. He almost fell head first to the ground in the air. A normal-ranked level 1 puppet mouse that had no attack power? What use was that? Seeing this, Tian Quan almost choked on his laughter. He felt that it was hard to hold back his laughter. The fire rat of the quintet golden puppet mice slowly slid out of the protective shield. It could move freely even under the weakening domain and pressure. Because it wasn't a living creature, it didn't have any fear or physical body. It wouldn't be harmed by any kind of mental, spiritual, or physical attack. Hellfire was also ineffective against it. Even the 9-headed fire snakes on the ground wouldn't take the initiative to attack it. They just stared at it. The fire rat slowly slid out, its little head sniffing left and right. It looked like a rat looking for food. 5 seconds later, Qi Liao secretly used the explosive trap that he made with his hellfire to let the fire rat come out and successfully triggered it. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out. The ground shook incessantly from the explosion, but the fire rat continued to crawl forward slowly, continuing to explore the next explosive trap. When it successfully dispelled the second explosive trap and even blew away the nearest Cerberus, Qi Liao realized that this fire rat was the bane of his traps. Qi Liao's expression changed. He roared and flew down from the sky, punching out with his huge fist. He was prepared to kill this annoying little puppet rat in one move. Let me give you a piece of advice. The bird that sticks out will be shot. Yu Yang quickly appeared behind Qi Liao, world exterminating wheel in one hand and Nirvana's flame in the other. He had been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. As long as the enemies who were cooperating well with each other revealed a flaw, it would be the time for him to counterattack. Yu Yang's counterattack would be a fatal attack. It would definitely not be sloppy. One move would be enough to kill the enemy. Chapter 291. Qi Liao cursed inwardly, the shadow of death looming over him. He knew that the Yu clan's third young master was terrifyingly strong. First, Yao Guan was killed by him. Then Machi Su Ling also died by his hands. Qi Liao did not dare to be careless towards him. However, he did not expect Yu Yang's attack to be so fast. In the instant that the world-exterminating wheel slashed towards him, Qi Liao immediately summoned his platinum grimoire, hoping that it would be able to protect him. As long as he could hold on for a second, he would have 10 ways to escape. Unfortunately, he couldn't summon his grimoire, because Qi Liao was firmly imprisoned in the air by the binding talent. His body, spiritual energy, spirit, consciousness, and even his soul would be completely bound within 3 seconds. There was no possibility of resistance. After leveling up, Little One Li's binding inherent skill had also leveled up. Before leveling up, Machi Su Ling, who was a level 5 innate ranker, could successfully bind Qi Liao. If Yu Yang needed it, he could even bind them for a longer period of time. Even exceeding 3 seconds wouldn't be a problem. Yu Yang was doing this to confuse Duan Mu Longcheng. He was prepared to give this Green Summit sect leader a huge misconception. This binding inherent skill could only bind innates below Qi Liao, and not Duan Mu Longcheng, who was a level 6 innate. He would wait for the best opportunity to kill Duan Mu Long Cheng. Of course, Yu Yang's greater ambition was to join forces with the impatience to kill the great emperor of Ji Wei, Shun Tian. He would definitely be able to sense this binding, innate talent through the golden giant. He had to use it sparingly and deceive this great Emperor Ziwei as well. Then, he would wait for the best opportunity. 3 seconds. Not to mention Yu Yang, who was an expert in sneak attacks. Even an ordinary martial artist could slap Qi Liao's face a few times. In battle, even a second of losing control was enough to be fatal. The world-exterminating wheel slashed across Qi Liao's neck. An evil demon's body that was able to withstand damage from gold-ranked weapons was like tofu in front of the world-exterminating wheel. Without any obstruction, the world-exterminating wheel slashed through. Yu Yang's right hand, which was burning with Nirvana's flame, plunged deep into Qi Liao's back, forcefully pulling out the demon heart and refining it in an instant. Behind him, the space seemed to be on the verge of shattering. Duan Mu Long Cheng arrived. He was like the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Ever since Yu Yang had summoned the quintet seeking golden mice, he had a feeling that Yu Yang would try to lure and kill Qi Liao, but he did not warn Qi Liao. Instead, he watched as Qi Liao fell into Yu Yang's trap. Yu Yang had used Qi Liao as a cicada to cover himself, to use him as bait, to let himself be the oriole that attacked from behind. Duan Mu Longcheng was very smart. He was definitely a cunning oriole. The moment he attacked, the power of an innate level 6 was enough to destroy a small mountain. Such a terrifying power was gathered on his right fist. It was completely silent. When Yu Yang killed Qi Liao, he successfully launched a sneak attack from behind and punched Yu Yang's back. Duan Mu Longcheng sacrificed Qi Liao and used his comrade's life as bait to successfully hit Yu Yang. Yu Yang disappeared with a whoosh. He teleported away in an instant and landed 100 meters away. Even though he managed to escape in time, the innate level 6 punch still left a deep fist mark on his back. Duan Mu Longcheng's terrifying punch almost shattered Yu Yang's spine. If it wasn't for the fact that Yu Yang had learned this space teleportation technique from the old cunning fox and was proficient in teleportation, being able to teleport at any time, anywhere, in addition to the graceful sword dance that he had learned from mysterious 3 styles, which was extremely effective against sneak attacks, Yu Yang was afraid that he would have already been heavily injured by this sneak attack. Yu Yang's mouth was bleeding, but he was not upset or angry. He even smiled a little. He was not surprised by Duan Mu Longcheng's sneak attack. Before he attacked Qi Liao, Yu Yang had already thought that Duan Mu Longcheng would make a move. Hence, he secretly split his attention to watch out for Duan Mu Longcheng's attack. The only thing he did not expect was that Duan Mu Longcheng was much faster than he had imagined. This cunning Green Summit sect leader was actually an agility type innate who excelled in speed. He was not an energy type innate who excelled in long-range attacks like Yu Yang had imagined. Yu Yang did not want to miss the opportunity to kill Qi Liao. He would rather take a punch to kill the innate level 3 Qi Liao. As long as Qi Liao and Tian Quan were not dead, they would not be much of a threat to him. However, they were a huge threat to Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, and Xue Tanlang. Once they realized that they could not fight against him, they would turn around to kill them. Duan Mu Longcheng was too strong. He could not be killed easily. That diamond-ranked, level 9 Sky Emperor Golden Giant was a guardian beast. There was no point in killing it. Shun Tian could use his spiritual energy to heal it and summon it again. Hence, Yu Yang's targets could only be Qi Liao and Tian Quan. At this time, Tian Quan and the Golden Giant, who were watching the battle from the sky, also attacked at the same time. Although they were not as fast as Duan Mu Longcheng, they seemed to have a tacit understanding. The two of them split into 2 in midair. Tian Quan of the 7 Great Bears pounced towards Hui Tai Lang and the Thorny Flower Demoness. He knew that once the Grimoire's owner moved, the Grimoire's protective shield would disappear. If Hui Tai Lang and the Thorny Flower Demoness did not have the protective shield, he would definitely be able to kill them in one strike. Hence, Tian Quan rushed to attack Hui Tai Lang and the thorny flower demoness with all his might. He did not think that Yu Yang was an abnormal existence. The grimoire's protective shield would not disappear because of movement, unless the time was up or the grimoire was withdrawn. Otherwise, Yu Yang's silver grimoire would remain, and the protective shield would remain. This was completely different from other people. The golden giant suddenly shot down from the sky, attacking Yu Yang from afar. He was a holy beast, so he was very smart. He knew that Yu Yang was already injured, so he did not give Yu Yang any chance to recover his breath. Roar Fury! The diamond-ranked level 9 golden giant pressed down with both of his hands, like a tsunami, towards Yu Yang. Before Yu Yang could dodge, Duan Mu Longcheng's fist had already arrived. Yu Yang was very surprised. He realized that even with his level 5 divine vision, he could not see Duan Mu Longcheng's sudden increase in speed. Yu Yang was obviously confident that he could dodge this punch, but because of Duan Mu Longcheng's sudden increase in speed, he was unable to defend in time. Yu Yang could not react in time, but the innate qi in his body was already prepared. Like a spiral, it formed a mysterious energy whirlpool at the right side of his ribs that was about to be hit. Yu Yang counterattacked at the same time. The world-exterminating wheel that had killed Qi Liao instantly, Yu Yang used his hand as a guide and slashed towards Duan Mu Longcheng's back. The nirvana flame in his right hand turned into a flaming sword and pierced towards Duan Mu Longcheng's chest. Too slow. Duan Mu Longcheng's body twisted like a snake. His fist struck Yu Yang's right side at lightning speed, causing Yu Yang's body to tremble. Before he could feel the pain, Duan Mu Longcheng's flying kick arrived and landed heavily on Yu Yang's knee. If it wasn't for Yu Yang closing his legs in time, his little brother would have been kicked by Duan Mu Longcheng. Duan Mu Longcheng's body twisted like a fried dough twist, narrowly dodging the world-exterminating wheel and the nirvana flame sword. His other leg flew towards Yu Yang's face as he spun. His movements were extremely fast. If Yu Yang didn't have the Heaven Eyes divine vision to see the trajectory of his attacks, he would have been beaten to a pulp by Duan Mu Longcheng. Until now, Yu Yang finally understood. This cunning Duan Mu Longcheng had an inherent skill that allowed him to break through quickly. With this inherent skill, all of his defenses would become full of flaws. It wasn't that his reaction wasn't fast enough, nor was it because his defenses were ineffective. The reason why he didn't know how to react was because he was plotted against by Duan Mu Longcheng's sudden acceleration, inherent skill. Duan Mu Longcheng's fist and leg suddenly increased in speed and struck his body first, causing all of his defenses to fail. So it's like this. After Yu Yang understood his opponent's attack, he suddenly smiled. His smile was very mysterious. Duan Mu Longcheng's flying kick was aimed toward his face. Yu Yang was suddenly not in a hurry to dodge, but took the initiative to face the attack. His hands became extremely slow, using slowness to break speed, using clumsiness to break technique, using roundness to break point. His innate qi revolved like a tidal wave. This time, even though Duan Mu Longcheng's flying kick suddenly increased in speed, against Yu Yang's hands that were revolving slowly, it was as if he had fallen into a pile of cotton. His strength was quickly diverted and his speed decreased continuously. It was as if every inch he moved forward was extremely difficult. At first, his kicks were as fast as lightning, but they gradually became slower and slower. In the end, he moved like a snail. Yu Yang rotated his hands and successfully defended against this kick. Duan Mu Longcheng's expression changed, but it was too late for him to retreat now. He felt that he was still using all of his strength to kick, but he could not retract his kick as he wished. This kind of abnormality was definitely caused by the Yu clan's third young master. Duan Mu Longcheng knew the reason, but he could not think of a way to counter it. Under the slow rotation of the giant circle, he was helpless. The giant circle formed by the yin and yang energy easily broke down Duan Mu Longcheng's head-exploding attack and transformed it into a strong force that was transmitted to Yu Yang's legs. Yu Yang's body was bent like a bow. He exerted strength in his arms, and his legs instantly closed. His body was thrown high up into the air, and his legs shot out like an arrow. From the bottom to the top, he flipped his body and swept his kick. The crescent-shaped sword chi from his leg flashed dazzlingly at Duan Mu Longcheng's chest, abdomen, chin, and face. Even though Duan Mu Longcheng rolled away in time and dodged Yu Yang's powerful counterattack, he was still unable to dodge it completely. His chin, which was the highest point of the attack, suffered a heavy blow. When the crescent-shaped sword chi from his leg appeared, Duan Mu Longcheng's beard, skin, and muscles were immediately separated from his body. Duan Mu Longcheng felt as though his chin was about to shatter. His head was spinning, and he almost fell to the ground. His rationality told him that if he stayed here for another second, he would be in danger of being killed by his opponent. At the same time, he borrowed the force of the attack to bounce his body back and left angrily. The innate, invisible sword chi shot out from Yu Yang's toes almost killed Duan Mu Longcheng. A long line of blood appeared on the right side of Duan Mu Longcheng's face, from his chin all the way to his ear. If it wasn't for Duan Mu Longcheng dodging fast enough, there would have been a small hole at the back of his head, and his brain would have come out for air. Even with his innate level 6 protective chi and strong defense, he was still unable to withstand the power of the innate invisible sword chi. Duan Mu Longcheng retreated 100 meters away. He was secretly afraid. World exterminating wheel, Nirvana's flame, and this mysterious sword chi. These three things were all great weapons that could kill an enemy in an instant. It was no wonder that Machi Su Ling could not last more than half an hour. From the start till now, not even a minute had passed, and he was already surrounded by danger. He almost died under Yu Yang's three great weapons. If it wasn't for the fact that he knew that Yu Yang was powerful and fought him with his full strength, he was afraid. If he had underestimated Yu Yang, he would have ended up like Machi Su Ling, dying miserably in front of Yu Yang. Not bad. Duan Mu Longcheng praised Yu Yang for the first time. "You pervert." Tian Quan didn't care. He scolded Yu Yang loudly. The reason was because he thought that the barrier would disappear the moment Yu Yang left. Like a big bird, he swooped down excitedly, preparing to give Hui Tai Lang and the thorny flower demoness a heavy punch. He had never thought that even after Yu Yang had left the range of the barrier, that damn barrier would still exist. Under his heavy punches, the barrier shook nonstop. However, Hui Tai Lang and the thorny flower demoness were safe and sound inside. Their four eyes flashed with a look of looking at an idiot. This kind of look of disdain from beasts deeply hurt Tian Quan. No matter what, he was still an innate. Furthermore, he was one of the 7 great bears. But now, he was being looked down upon by 2 beasts. How? How could he not be angry? Tian Quan attacked with all his might. Realizing that the barrier was still there and did not disappear because of his powerful attacks, he was so angry that he almost suffered internal injuries. The most outrageous thing was that while Tian Quan was gasping for breath, Hui Tai Lang turned his butt around and stuck it out of the protective shield. He raised his tail and let out a loud fart right in front of Tian Quan's face before comfortably hiding back inside the protective shield. As one of the 7 great bears, Tian Quan actually ate a dog's fart. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He had seen hateful dogs before, but he had never seen such a hateful dog. Unfortunately, he couldn't even hurt a single hair of it. Tian Quan couldn't do anything to Hui Tai Lang and the thorny flower demoness, so he could only vent his anger on his master, Yu Yang. However, Yu Yang ignored his existence. He didn't even glance at him, as if Tian Quan, one of the 7 great bears, did not even exist in this world. This kind of disregard completely angered Tian Quan. He was an innate. How could he be ignored like this? He was bullied by a dog and couldn't take revenge. He wanted to settle the score with his master, but he was ignored by the other party. This kind of humiliation was unbearable. Ever since Tian Quan was born, he had never suffered such humiliation before. If he didn't tear Yu Yang and Hui Tai Lang into pieces, Tian Quan would never be able to rest in peace. Even if he died, he wouldn't be able to rest in peace. Yu Yang really ignored this fellow. Tian Quan was only slightly better than Yao Guang and Kai Yang. If it wasn't for Duan Mu Long Cheng, Yu Yang could have killed this arrogant fellow in an instant. What made Yu Yang feel strange was that Qi Liao, who had been killed in an instant, was still alive. Qi Liao only had his head left and was on the verge of death. However, this demon innate was indeed still alive. His head floated in the sky, summoning his platinum grimoire and raised his barrier. He continuously summoned flames to replenish his energy and heal his body. Yu Yang's level 5 divine vision could see that the reason why Qi Liao didn't die was not because he didn't use enough strength. Instead, this fellow had a special inherent skill that allowed him to escape death. Yu Yang was only focused on defending against Duan Mu Long Cheng's attack, and didn't attack to kill Qi Liao. If Yu Yang had chosen to use Nirvana's flame to refine the demon heart instead of burning Qi Liao's ugly head, Qi Liao would have died a long time ago. The problem was Yu Yang needed that demon heart. If he used Nirvana's flame to burn Qi Liao's head, Qi Liao would die and the demon heart that was filled with energy would be destroyed. That would be too wasteful. Yu Yang looked at Qi Liao's incomparably ugly head. Other than being left with only one life, what else could this guy do? He wasn't a threat at all. It was a pity that those gold-ranked beasts didn't die because of him. Looks like he still needed Hui Tai Lang to do some hard work. Hui Tai Lang, what are you waiting for? Do you only need to eat and not work? Yu Yang was definitely more ruthless than Exploiter Zhou. Woof! Hui Tai Lang couldn't wait any longer. All right, you damn dog, you finally came out. See if I don't skin you alive. Migrez wondered if he should first slaughter this dog, roast it, and eat it to his heart's content, then settle the score with its owner. Or should he first kill its owner, then chop off the dog's 4 legs, let it slowly drain its blood, and watch it slowly die? Or should he find some crazy metal-devouring ants to gnaw on it until only its head was left and bring it back home to keep as a collection? Tian Quan was about to attack Hui Tai Lang when he suddenly felt a light breeze behind his ear. An arrogant voice that could make people go crazy rang out from behind him. You, what are you still doing here? You should have died long ago. Letting someone like you live is simply a waste of the crew's lunchbox. Remember, as a minor character, don't be too arrogant. Chapter 292. Duan Mu Long Cheng's eyes turned cold. Of course, he had the ability to save Tian Quan, but the sense of danger that came from an expert's heart made him hesitate. Yu Clan's 3rd young master. Could his actions be a trap? When he had ambushed Qi Liao just now, he had already set up a trap. It was just that his speed talent had made it impossible for Qi Liao to defend against it. After exchanging blows, this little brat had already seen through his talent. Now, he was playing the same trick again. Was this action of assassinating Tian Quan a trap specially set for him? As a cautious and suspicious person, Duan Mu Long Cheng would rather see Tian Quan die than put himself in danger. It's better for you to die than for me. If Tian Quan was killed, it would mean that he was incompetent. Duan Mu Long Cheng had already decided that no matter what, he would not lend a helping hand. Towards Yu Yang's arrogant words, Migrez was infuriated. He was also an innate, a level 3 innate. When he was in Tong Tian Tower, not to mention this brat, even his parents were still in their mother's wombs. Did he really think that he had no ability at all? As an innate ranker, he had his own pride and his own abilities. Humph, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Tian Quan was not a person who would sit and wait for death. He sneered and spun his body. Both of his hands were filled with starlight as he used his ultimate move, Thousand Star Fall, to ruthlessly attack Yu Yang's chest. This was a kind of energy similar to starlight. It had an extremely strong penetrative power and could easily break through the enemy's defenses. Moreover, it could be delayed until it entered the enemy's weak body. Only then would it truly explode. This would be more powerful and effective in destroying and killing the enemy's body. This was the combination of Migrez's shooting star, innate skill, and his battle technique. In the past, he had used this technique to attack his enemies, and it had always been successful. Even the Eastern Goblin tribe, who had extremely strong bodies, had once suffered under this technique. A human body? Once he was hit, he would definitely be done for. Yu Yang was hit by dozens of stars shot out by Tian Quan. Starlight seeped into his body, forcing him to take a few steps back. There was no pain on his face. Instead, he looked a little stunned, as if he couldn't believe that he had fallen for the trick. Tian Quan felt that this brat was putting up a front. He looked fine on the surface, but the inside of his body was already finished. Unless one had a unique innate talent, such as the Devour innate talent, which could make one immune to the starlight entering one's body, whose internal organs could withstand such a terrifying attack. You're already finished. Tian Quan confidently extended his index finger and shook it at Yu Yang in disdain. This was his signature move. Every time he killed or heavily injured an enemy, he would shake his finger to show his contempt for the enemy. Tian Quan knew what would happen next. In 5 seconds, this Yu clan's third young master's body would explode into pieces. At the very least, his chest would explode and his ribs would break. His heart, lungs, intestines, and everything else would explode and turn into a bloody mess, splattering all over the ground. That was one of Migrez's favorite scenes in his life. Just like raping a virgin, it made him feel extremely comfortable, so comfortable that goosebumps appeared all over his body. Cough, cough. Yu Yang clutched his chest and coughed a few times. He coughed out a little bit of blood, but it was completely different from what Tian Quan had imagined. His lungs had been blasted open, and blood was spurting out crazily. What made Tian Quan dumbfounded was that this Yu clan's third young master's body did not show any signs of exploding. What was going on? Tian Quan waited for a long time. This Yu clan's third young master's body should have exploded a long time ago, but he was still fine? He would never have thought that Yu Yang's domain of power was Devour. The starlight energy just now was equivalent to a tonic. Yu Yang coughed. He was mainly using his innate qi to heal the injuries that Duan Mu Longcheng had received from his attack just now. Duan Mu Longcheng's innate qi resonated with his weakened domain of power. The effect was very strong, and it greatly affected Yu Yang's injuries. That was why Yu Yang took the opportunity to heal himself and recover his full strength. Yu Yang did not know that Tian Quan had misunderstood him. Of course, he did not care about his reaction. Tian Quan's starlight energy and inherent skill did not affect Yu Yang at all. In fact, from a certain point of view, Tian Quan's starlight energy could even be considered as a form of help. It could speed up the process of condensing Yu Yang's star explosion domain. Yu, how could you be fine? Tian Quan could not understand at all. Yu Yang had obviously been hit, but he was still safe and sound. This was too strange. Yu Yang wiped the blood off the corner of his mouth with his hand and smiled like a demon. It's really not bad energy, but it's too weak. If it's a little stronger, it would be even better. Previously, I could not understand how my domain of power worked. But now, with the help of your starlight energy, I finally understand. It turns out that my domain of power is not outside, but inside my body. Or it could be said that my domain of power has not grown to the extent that it could spread inside my body. I've always been worried that my domain of power was different from other people's. I was still a little apprehensive, but now it's no longer the case. After your attack, just now, I finally understand how to use it. In order to express my gratitude to you, I have decided to show you the true power of my domain of power for the first time. Impossible! Tian Quan almost went crazy from anger. Not only was his attack ineffective, why did it help Yu Yang instead? He roared furiously. He raised his hands and prepared to attack again. Thinking about it, if he attacked Yu Yang, he would be helping Yu Yang. If he attacked Yu Yang, wouldn't he be foolish again? He quickly retreated and prepared to return to Duan Mu Longcheng's side. Duan Mu Longcheng stood at a distance and watched coldly. He did not completely believe what Yu Yang said, but he guessed that the Yu clan's third young master must have an ulterior motive for saying that. Maybe it was a trap. The diamond-ranked level 9 golden giant was also very intelligent. He had been following Duan Mu Longcheng's movements closely. When Duan Mu Longcheng moved, he would attack. When Duan Mu Long Chung stayed still, he would also wait for an opportunity to attack. This was not Shun Tian's instruction, but the intelligence of a holy beast. In terms of battle intelligence, the Golden Giant was indeed superior to the current Hui Tai Lang. Only Xiao Wenli, who was connected to Yu Yang's mind and had a tacit understanding with him, could win against him. Of course, under Yu Yang's influence, Hui Tai Lang's intelligence was growing every day. To him, becoming a holy beast was definitely not the end. Look at the stars that I created. Tian Quan's body soared into the sky, but no matter how fast he was, he could not match up to Yu Yang's speed. Yu Yang stretched out his hand. Grabbing one of Tian Quan's legs, he gripped his ankle tightly. The domain of energy star explosion appeared in Yu Yang's hand. At first, it was only a small ball, but it gradually expanded, forming a strange phenomenon of condensing and dispersing at the same time. Countless starlight shot out, forming even more star explosions. They connected with each other and formed a cluster of stars. Although the diameter of the cluster was not even 1 meter, its power scared Tian Quan out of his wits. Even Duan Mu Long Chung, who was far away, frowned. "Save me, save." Tian Quan saw that Duan Mu Long Chung was standing still and panicked. He hurriedly asked the Golden Giant for help. He attacked Yu Yang, but all his attacks did not cause any damage. They only increased the size of the cluster of stars. However, the power of the cluster of stars could hurt him. When the cluster of stars expanded, the starlight that it shot out could easily pierce through or even destroy Tian Quan's body. Tian Quan's innate defense was useless against the star explosion that was getting bigger and bigger. In the sky, the Golden Giant, who had just swooped down to save Tian Quan, saw that the star explosion in Yu Yang's hand was about to explode. He immediately gave up on saving Tian Quan and turned around to escape. He could clearly feel that the destructive power of this energy explosion was not any weaker than the World Exterminating Wheel. The World Exterminating Wheel was very small and easy to dodge. However, if this cluster of stars exploded, everything within 100 meters would be turned into dust. Duan Mu Long Chung and the Golden Giant soared into the sky at the same time. Far away, Yu Yang brought Tian Quan and chased after them. Tian Quan was not an idiot. He realized that his life was in danger. If he allowed this star explosion to explode, then he would definitely be blasted into pieces. He was also a ruthless person. He made a prompt decision and, with a flash of light in his hand, he chopped off his entire right leg. He left his bloody leg behind and ran away frantically, hoping to escape from the range of the explosion. As for running back to Duan Mu Long Cheng's side and fighting together with him, that was not his choice anymore. This was because Duan Mu Long Cheng's eyes were cold and emotionless, causing Tian Quan to feel extremely disappointed. Tian Quan was still gasping for breath. He prepared to summon his grimoire and raise his shield to protect himself. When he was in the opponent's hands just now, his spiritual energy was suppressed and he was unable to summon it. If he didn't summon it now, he might not be able to escape. "I'll send you off." A voice that sounded like the call of the Grim Reaper came from behind him. "It's over." Tian Quan's forehead was filled with cold sweat. He had not successfully summoned his grimoire, but the enemy had already caught up to him. Yu Yang threw his star explosion towards Duan Mu Long Chung. He did not need to use his binding chain's inherent skill to grab Tian Quan. He could directly use star explosion to pass through Tian Quan's body. Because he had controlled his speed and strength perfectly, the star explosion would not explode Tian Quan's body. It would only leave a huge bloody hole in his chest. Duan Mu Long Chung was extremely cunning and knew how to teleport. However, to Yu Yang, under the Heaven Eye's divine radiance, teleportation and camouflage were useless. Forget about Duan Mu Long Chung. Yu Yang could even see the traces of the other strong rancor who had been hiding here all along. That strong innate rancor had always been hiding in the dark, observing them secretly. Yu Yang had already discovered this fellow's existence a long time ago. The moment Phoenix Fairy Beauty left, he had already arrived. Yu Yang didn't know why he didn't make a move. Maybe he wanted to see Yu Yang's true strength in secret. Yu Yang felt that Tian Quan might be the bait of that person. That person was preparing to use Tian Quan and even Duan Mu Long Cheng to find out his true strength. Who was this person hiding in the dark? According to Yu Yang's guess, this person's strength should not be any weaker than the great emperor of Ji Wei, Shun Tian. Then who was he? The Thousand Goblins sect leader? Yu Yang still could not figure out his opponent's background and real goal. What he needed to do now was to pretend that he did not know that the Thousand Goblins sect leader had appeared. First, he would kill Tian Quan and heavily injured Duan Mu Long Cheng. Then, he would think of a way to lure the enemy out. Maybe Ji Zun and Elder Nangong had already returned from the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower. That was why this Thousand Goblin sect leader was hiding. Or maybe there were other reasons. Rumble. While Yu Yang was still thinking, an earth-shattering explosion had already occurred on the star explosion. The power of the explosion was 10 times stronger than when he killed Machi Su Ling. Chapter 293. The explosion of the star explosion was earth-shattering. The entire Yu clan castle was shaken by the explosion. A huge crater appeared on the ground in front of the castle. Half of the slope had collapsed, and a huge pit that was more than 10 meters wide appeared. After the dust settled, a shocking sight could be seen at the place where Duan Mu Long Cheng had been. It was extremely deep. The original stone pavement had already disappeared without a trace. At the center of the explosion, Duan Mu Long Cheng had already disappeared without a trace. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. The diamond-ranked level 9 golden giant was covered in blood, and his clothes were torn. He seemed to be heavily injured. The golden swallowing fish dragon sword in his hand was placed horizontally in front of his chest. The tip of the sword was still trembling. This emperor-like holy beast had actually used sword chi to forcefully defend against the destructive power of the star explosion. Even though he was standing far away from the center of the explosion, and was also a diamond-ranked level 9 beast with an incomparably strong defense, he was still able to defend against the power of the star explosion's domain of power with just one strike. This was truly a huge surprise to Yu Yang. Other than Hui Tai Lang and the Thorny Flower Demoness, all the beasts on the ground were either sent flying or retreated a few hundred meters away. Before Tian Quan was killed by Yu Yang's star explosion, all the beasts that he summoned had already betrayed him. The gold-ranked level 7 Storm Griffin died on the spot. It was Tian Quan's guardian beast, and the only beast that did not betray him. The gold-ranked level 7 Red Crown Flying Dragon King, gold-ranked level 6 Giant Bat, and gold-ranked level 6 Harpy rushed into the sky, trying their best to avoid the terrifying power of the explosion. Yu Yang counterattacked. In the sky, the bloody queen red dove down. She let out a shrill harpy scream. The giant bat with the sharpest hearing immediately fainted, spinning in the sky and falling down. The gigantic red crown, flying dragon king, flapped its wings, trying its best to escape from the thorny flower Demoness. The harpy's speed was extremely fast. However, no matter how fast she was, her struggles were futile in front of Little One Li. As soon as the binding inherent skill was used, the dual icicle blades slashed across, and the harpy's head flew into the air. On the ground, the barbarian Cao Shadow Aman and Hui Tai Lang had already started a massacre competition. Aman was up against the 9-headed fire snake, while Hui Tai Lang was up against the Cerberus and the Reaper Mantis. Although its level was lower than the Magma Wyvern, when the Magma Wyvern saw the Reaper Mantis, it immediately escaped with its fastest speed. The Reaper Mantis had always been a natural enemy of the Dragon Clan. Even the Phosphorescence Bone Dragon, Violent Scarlet Dragon, and Hell Black Dragon would retreat when they saw the Reaper Mantis, let alone this Magma Wyvern. The Lava Giant came to help, but it was too slow. Just as the fire which was about to whip the barbaric Cow Shadow that was closest to her, a flame whip whizzed down from the sky and whipped her violently. Bloody Queen Red also had the flame whip skill. Although it wasn't as effective as Banshee Scream, it was still a powerful skill. With the dragon-slaying dagger and the Eye Destroyer silver dagger in each hand, she had just killed the heavily injured and unconscious giant swallowing bat. The second target was the Fire Witch. The lava giant raised its fists that were burning with raging flames, preparing to smash Hui Tai Lang, who was fighting with the Cerberus. The little gold beast had unknowingly jumped on top of its head. It ignored the burning flames and started biting crazily. Even the king of Black Light's body that was made of meteorite obsidian, which was harder than metal, couldn't withstand its bite. This lava giant that was protected by raging flames and magma was definitely not a problem. On the other side, Hui Tai Lang was bitten a few times. His temper flared up and his demonic aura exploded. He leveled up from bronze-ranked level 3 to platinum-ranked level 5. Just now, he didn't use his full strength. Who would have thought that he would be bullied by this Cerberus? Hui Tai Lang was furious. His purplish-black flames soared to the sky, and his demonic aura exploded crazily. Previously, the Cerberus could easily bite a bloody wound on Hui Tai Lang's body. However, now that Hui Tai Lang had reached platinum-ranked level 5, its 3 huge mouths couldn't even bite through its teeth, even though they were shattered. Its sharp teeth couldn't even break through Hui Tai Lang's protective chi. This was the defensive battle skill that Yu Yang taught Hui Tai Lang. It originated from one of the worst mercenary battle skills, the crushing stone hammer technique. Yu Yang had modified it, changing it from an offensive technique to a defensive one. He would circulate his chi throughout his entire body, limbs, and tail. Whenever the enemy attacked in any direction, he would condense his chi into a hammer and smash it back at the enemy. This was Yu Yang's request. Of course, Hui Tai Lang had not achieved this yet. It could only circulate its demonic aura and combine it with its metal attribute to circulate on its skin. Once it was attacked by the enemy, it would tighten its skin and use its demonic aura to counter the enemy. Although it still couldn't achieve the effect that Yu Yang wanted, it was enough to defend against the Cerberus's bite. After leveling up to platinum-ranked level 5, not only did Hui Tai Lang's defense increase, its attack power had also increased by leaps and bounds. It tore open the Cerberus's chest with one claw and bit the head on the left that was spewing venom, tearing it off forcefully. Immediately, the Cerberus turned into a 2-headed dog, rolling on the ground in pain. Seeing that the enemy was defeated, Hui Tai Lang didn't hold back anymore. It pounced on the enemy and used its claws to press it down. With a fierce bite, it tore the enemy apart and swallowed the demon crystal into its stomach. The one who ended the battle the fastest was definitely not Hui Tai Lang. Other than Little One Li, who instantly killed the enemy, the barbarian Cow Shadow, a man triggered, Doom's Eyes, and a 9-headed fire snake died on the spot. Even the demon Innate Chi Liao, who was hiding in the protective shield with only one head left, had its head exploded. Blood Pupil double kill. When Doom's Eyes was triggered, there was a certain chance that it could kill a related enemy at the same time as it instantly killed the enemy. Previously in the Aquarius Temple, a man had used Blood Pupil double kill to instantly kill the Aquarius Temple Guardian and the Beast Goddess Servant Shadow. If it wasn't for Yu Yang's luck exploding and man triggering Blood Pupil double kill, Yu Yang might not have been able to pass the Aquarius Temple. Now, Yu Yang's luck exploding once again. Qi Liao, who was hiding in the protective shield and thought that he was very safe, triggered Blood Pupil double kill because his summoned beasts were hit by Doom's Eyes. In the end, he, the Master, was implicated when Qi Liao, the Master, died. All his beasts exploded. However, it was only the Magma Wyvern and Magma Giant. The Fire Witch girl had already been pierced through the forehead by the dragon-slaying dagger and was already dead. As for the Cerberus, even its demon crystal and demon heart had entered Hui Tai Lang's stomach. Hui Tai Lang even burped a few times. Their speed was not only because of the difference in strength, but also because they lived under Yu Yang's shadow. They had to learn how to kill steel and steal credit. Everything had to be fast, otherwise they would have to follow behind others and eat the northwest wind. Growing up in this kind of environment that was even scarier than hell, their killing speed was naturally very fast. It could be said that the slowest killing speed was the Reaper Mantis, which was originally known for its speed, agility, and fatal attacks. Asterisk, 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 Duan Mu Long Cheng disappeared. Yu Yang stood quietly in the middle of the battlefield. With his level 5 divine vision, he scanned his surroundings for any movement. He escaped so quickly. Yu Yang discovered that Duan Mu Long Cheng, who was invisible, was running toward a small hill silently. This fellow was not injured at all. Seeing that his comrade had died, he immediately retreated. Yu Yang discovered that the other person hiding in ambush was also moving slightly. Even though he couldn't see his movement with his Heaven Eyes divine vision, Yu Yang was sure that this fellow was using Duan Mu Long Cheng as bait to kill him. In an even more distant place, two balls of light that were as cold as the sun were chasing each other in the sky. That was the decisive battle between the Impatiens and Shun Tian. The two of them had not made any moves yet. They were both looking for each other's flaws. As long as the opponent revealed a single flaw, it would be the key to their victory. As for the ascetic practice saint, the scholar, and the two heavenly imperial guardians of the Zijin kingdom, the four of them had already fought somewhere else. In the sky, little Wen Li abandoned the golden giant and turned into a rainbow, disappearing into Yu Yang's body. In an instant, Yu Yang teleported and chased after the invisible Duan Mu Long Cheng. Bloody Queen, Thorny Flower Demoness, Golden Beast, and Reaper Mantis replaced little Wen Li to fight against the diamond-ranked level 9 golden giant. On the ground, Hui Tai Lang leapt up. The barbarian Cow Shadow on man burst out with great strength and threw her huge body into the sky, attacking the extremely strong golden giant. Together with the Bloody Queen and the others, they attacked from both the sky and the ground. Because the golden giant was a guardian beast, there was no point in killing it. Hence, the Bloody Queen, Hui Tai Lang, and the others only tangled with the golden giant, preventing it from affecting Yu Yang's movements. They did not surround and kill it like they usually did. The moment Yu Yang caught up to Duan Mu Long Cheng, Duan Mu Long Cheng suddenly laughed. His laugh was extremely sinister. As if his evil plan had succeeded, his face was filled with joy. His enfeeblement spread out for the second time. At the same time, he used his acceleration, inherent skill, and punched towards Yu Yang's face. "You're finished." Duan Mu Long Cheng's eyes flashed with a cruel light. His punches instantly turned into a meteor and landed heavily on Yu Yang's chest. Originally, Yu Yang could have dodged it. Even against Duan Mu Long Cheng's acceleration, inherent skill, he was confident that he could dodge it completely. However, at this moment, behind Yu Yang, there was an eerie and terrifying shadow that appeared out of nowhere. A ghostly claw-like big hand pressed towards the back of Yu Yang's head. A strange power, like a restraint, yet different, froze all of Yu Yang's movements. This was the paralysis inherent skill. Yu Yang felt his whole body go numb as he lost control of himself. Although it only lasted for a second, it was enough to kill him. Damn it! Impatience was like a blazing sun, coming from afar with extreme speed. It was as if space and time did not exist at this moment. She, who was more than 10,000 meters away, broke through space and time and appeared in front of Yu Yang in a flash. She was trying to save Yu Yang. At the same speed as her was the great emperor of Ji Wei, Shun Tian. His hands were like two small suns, and his body was constantly emitting thousands of sharp sword-like rays of light. One of his punches was aimed at Impatience's back, and the other was aimed at Yu Yang's face. Paralysis. The eerie and terrifying shadow stretched out his ghostly claw-like right hand towards Impatience and used the paralysis inherent skill. "Get lost!" Impatience shouted angrily. Impatience kicked Duan Mu Long Cheng, who was a level 6 and 8, into the air and landed another kick on the eerie and terrifying shadow. At the same time, her right hand, which was covered in purple lightning, blocked the great emperor of Ji Wei, Shun Tian's heavy punch that was aimed at Yu Yang's face. Her left hand quickly pulled Yu Yang, helping him to escape from the control of the paralysis' inherent skill. Impatience, on the other hand, was unable to defend herself and suffered another heavy blow from Shun Tian's huge punch. The pain caused her face to change drastically and her cherry lips to bleed. Behind her, the great emperor of Ji-Wei, Shun Tian, raised his huge fist again, preparing to hit the back of Impatience's head for the second time. Yu Yang endured the pain and dizziness caused by Duan Mu Longcheng's heavy blow on his chest and abdomen. He reached out and hugged Impatience, turned around, and used the binding, inherent skill on the great emperor of Ji-Wei, Shun Tian. The duration of the binding was less than half a second. Fortunately, it worked. The eerie and terrifying shadow forcefully endured the fierce kick from Impatience and coldly stretched out his ghostly claw, stabbing towards Yu Yang's head. Impatience's smooth and round shoulder was lifted in time to protect Yu Yang. The ghostly claw pierced 5 bloody holes on her shoulder, but Impatience also raised her hand and elbowed the eerie and terrifying shadow's cheek, repelling him. Shun Tian, who had just broken free from the binding, threw out his second punch. Yu Yang held the world-exterminating wheel in his left hand and the Nirvana fire sword in his right hand. He didn't defend himself at all and fought back. Shun Tian's fist hit Yu Yang's arm, dodging the world-exterminating wheel that had gone out of control. At the same time, he kicked Yu Yang's wrist, blasting away the Nirvana fire sword. Shun Tian's head was like a meteor, crashing towards Yu Yang's forehead. Fight! Yu Yang's whole body was covered with runes, and the Nirvana fire was blazing. He used all his strength and fought head-on with Shun Tian. A rumbling sound was heard. Yu Yang felt that his head was about to break, and he had a splitting headache. Blood spurted out from his throat. Shun Tian's powerful strength wasn't something he could resist at the moment. What was surprising was that Shun Tian's injury was more serious than Yu Yang's. There was a small hole in his forehead, and blood was flowing out, while Yu Yang was only slightly swollen. Actually, if he wasn't the great emperor of Ji-Wei Shun Tian, but Duan Mu Longcheng, he would have already fallen to the ground and died. Yu Yang's innate invisible sword chi had reached the 5th level, and it wasn't limited to his fingers or toes to release innate invisible sword chi. Every meridian and acupuncture point in his body had to release innate invisible sword chi. The glabella on Shun Tian's forehead released sword chi at the moment when Shun Tian's attack was at its strongest and his defense was at its weakest. The sword chi pierced through Shun Tian's forehead and penetrated deep into his skull. And the Nirvana fire burned Shun Tian's innate chi, preventing him from expelling the sword chi. Yu Yang's sword chi pierced through his forehead, and the sword chi rampaged in his brain. Even though Shun Tian was at the same level as the Impatience, he was still in great pain. When the Impatience saw that Shun Tian was tricked by Yu Yang, she immediately took action. Sky Law. Under the Impatience's summon, a purple lightning appeared in the void, and with the power to destroy everything, it bombarded Shun Tian's head. This kind of terrifying destructive power wasn't any weaker than Yu Yang's star explosion, and it might even be stronger. Only the world-exterminating wheel and Nirvana flame could be compared to the destructive power of Heaven's wrath. Of course, this was related to the fact that Yu Yang hadn't fully displayed the power of the world-exterminating wheel and the Nirvana fire. If the world-exterminating wheel could really destroy the world, and the Nirvana fire could purify the world, then there wouldn't be any power in the world that could be compared to them. Yu Yang had just started on the road of innate, so he didn't have much research and understanding, so he could be considered as a beginner. Of course, he couldn't be compared to the thousands of years-old monsters like the Impatience and Shun Tian. Just now, the fact that Yu Yang could set up a trap and hurt Shun Tian with one sword strike had already shocked everyone. How could this kind of sword chi be so powerful? After being hit by the innate invisible sword chi and the sky law purple lightning, Shun Tian couldn't take it anymore. He howled in pain. He couldn't care less about attacking Yu Yang and the Impatience anymore, and escaped immediately. Seeing this, the eerie shadow also wanted to escape. The sharp claws with the green phosphorus ghost fire made a feint in front of the impatience to protect itself and quickly escaped. Yu Yang endured the pain and raised his hand to press on the eerie shadow. Both of their inherent skills took effect at the same time. The eerie shadow's paralysis made Yu Yang freeze his body, while Yu Yang's binding inherent skill also made the eerie shadow's plan to escape completely fail. Both of them froze for less than a second, but for the impatience, it was enough to beat the eerie shadow to a pulp. Original sin, resentment, redemption. The impatience released 3 powerful skills in a row. Her jade-like hands pressed on the air, and a sun-like light shone. The eerie shadow's body shook continuously. His chest, left rib, and right leg all had huge bloody holes, and his bones could be seen. Impatience held on to Yu Yang with one hand and turned her body. Her other hand hit the eerie shadow's face heavily, breaking his nose and causing blood to spurt out. "This is for you." She kicked the eerie shadow's lower abdomen while he was escaping. "This is for your interest." The eerie shadow quickly retreated. Before he could retreat far away, Yu Yang threw the world-exterminating wheel in his left hand at an extreme speed. The eerie shadow seemed to be a rancor at the same level as impatience. Even if he was heavily injured, he could still easily dodge the world-exterminating wheel's attack. Unexpectedly, Yu Yang twisted his waist and turned his body. The nirvana flame on his body formed a fire spear and pierced deeply into the eerie shadow's lower abdomen. The eerie shadow screamed. Although his whole body wasn't burned by the nirvana flame, the wound on the spear's tip was completely melted. His skin and flesh were destroyed, and he cried out in pain, which shook the mountains. Almost at the same time, 2 laser-like light beams shot out from the eerie shadows and Shun Tian's hands. They crossed each other and shot past Yu Yang's face. What a close shave. They only hit his afterimage. If it had hit him directly, Yu Yang's life would have been in danger. This was because the impatience had saved him. She pushed him down to the ground and pressed her big breasts against his face. She had snatched him back from the hands of the Grim Reaper in a dangerous attack. The eerie shadow and Shun Tian saw that their best chance, their last plan, still couldn't kill Yu Yang. Seeing that the impatience had started to gather the power of Sky Law again, they escaped separately, unwilling to fight with the impatience so as not to harm themselves. The gloomy shadow disappeared without a word, disappearing. Shun Tian, on the other hand, flew thousands of meters away. His bleeding forehead and blood-stained face made him look very embarrassed and somewhat ferocious, completely different from his majestic appearance just now. "Brat, you won't be happy for long. The next time we meet, it will be the time of your death." Shun Tian's words implied that the impatience was protecting him. If not, then Yu Yang would have died long ago. Yu Yang knew that it was still too early to fight with Shun Tian, but he had improved very fast. The next time they met, he might be his opponent. Just like the Marquis of Zijin, the previous battle was also very difficult. Now, in less than a year, he had already far surpassed the Marquis of Zijin. In the future, he might also be able to far surpass Shun Tian, the great emperor of Ziwei. Shun Tian was definitely not his final enemy. At most, he was just a stepping stone that was harder to climb. Shameless boasting. The impatience scolded angrily. She raised her jade-like hands, and Shun Tian immediately disappeared without waiting for the purple lightning that carried the power of Sky Law to strike him. The impatience saw that Shun Tian had left, and the power of Sky Law had completely disappeared. Her whole body softened and fell into Yu Yang's arms. It wasn't that she didn't participate in the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower Challenge, but because she saw that something was wrong, she was worried that Yu Yang would be at a disadvantage, so she returned halfway. Early on in the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower, she was already injured. Fortunately, she hid it from Shun Tian, and even joined forces with Yu Yang to defeat the joint attack of Shun Tian and the Eerie Shadow, severely injuring the enemy. When the crisis was over, she immediately couldn't hold on any longer and fell into Yu Yang's arms. Yu Yang hurriedly transferred his innate qi to her to heal her injuries. Hui Tai Lang, the Bloody Queen, the barbarian Cow Shadow, the Reaper Mantis, and the other beasts hurried over to protect Yu Yang, who was also injured from being disturbed. Duan Mu Longcheng's eyes were filled with fear and joy. He was happy that Sky Law had fainted from her injuries, so it was the best time for him to attack. He was afraid that the Yu clan's third young master could even injure Shun Tian and the others. If he was pierced by the Nirvana Flame Spear or hit by Yu Yang's Sword Qi, it wouldn't be as simple as just being injured. Come. Yu Yang transferred his innate qi to the impatiens with one hand and stretched out his hand, beckoning Duan Mu Longcheng with his finger. Oomph. Duan Mu Longcheng really wanted to attack, but he was afraid that it was a trap. If Sky Law was just pretending to be unconscious, then he would be courting death if he foolishly rushed forward to take advantage of her. Duan Mu Longcheng stomped his feet and gave up on the idea of killing Yu Yang and Sky Law. He decided to escape from this place and find a place where Sky Law couldn't find him. He would only come out when it was safe. Yu Yang knew that this was an opportunity. If it didn't kill Duan Mu Longcheng, it would be difficult to find him in the future. As Duan Mu Longcheng retreated, Yu Yang carried impatience and chased after him relentlessly. Now that the situation had turned around, the longer he dragged this out, the more advantageous it would be for Yu Yang. As long as impatience woke up, Duan Mu Longcheng would definitely die a tragic death. Of course, Duan Mu Longcheng suspected that Sky Law had not fainted. She might have suffered serious internal injuries, but she still had the strength to kill him. As long as he went forward, he would be instantly killed by her. Thinking of this, Duan Mu Longcheng ran even faster. In an instant, he was teleported into the Yu clan castle. He was faster than lightning as he shot towards the martial arts training plaza, where a chaotic battle was taking place. He didn't care about the situation of the people around him. Before Yu Yang could catch up to him, he rushed into the huge, blood-red, strange teleportation gate in the middle of the martial arts training plaza. Yu Yang didn't have time to think. He carried impatience and chased after him relentlessly. Under the watchful eyes of Fatty Hai and Yi Kong, Shui Tanlang and Prince Tian Luo, Princess Sisai and Yu Yu, Fallen Flower's city mistress and Inan, Shui Wuxia and Yu Bing, Yu Yang dashed into the blood-red teleportation gate like a shooting star. Other than Little One Li, who had transformed into a rainbow and floated into his body, Hui Tai Lang, Bloody Queen, Thorny Flower Demoness, and Barbarian Cow Shadow, none of them could catch up in time. When Yu Yang entered, he realized that he had already been teleported to another world. The blood moon shone high up in the sky. The surroundings were luxurious and majestic. There were many palaces, fake mountains, and flowing rivers everywhere, and Demon King statues could be seen everywhere. However, the thing that made Yu Yang sweat the most was the Demon Abyss Palace's unique dark whirlpool. It was constantly spinning in the sky, emitting an endless amount of evil demonic qi. Damn, this is the Demon King's palace. Yu Yang didn't think that he would chase them to such a place. He thought that he would only be able to chase them to the wilderness of the Demon Abyss. Just as Yu Yang was about to give up and return to the soaring dragon continent, suddenly, he heard a strange calling in his heart. It seemed familiar, yet strange at the same time. This, who was calling him? Yu Yang was stunned. Why would there be a friend of his in the Demon Abyss Palace? What did this call mean? Was it an illusion, or was it real? Yu Yang paused for a moment. Now that the situation was dire, he couldn't even protect himself. Did he really have to follow the voice? In the end, he gritted his teeth and made an important decision. Chapter 294. Duan Mu Longcheng was nowhere to be found. Yu Yang guessed that it wasn't because he was slow in catching up to him, nor was it because that fellow escaped fast. It was because of some reason that he had deviated a little when he was teleporting. If he was in the soaring dragon continent, this deviation would only be a few hundred meters. However, since he was teleporting to the Demon Abyss, a small deviation would make a huge difference. If he landed somewhere else, that would be fine. However, if he landed here, this was the Demon Abyss Palace. It was said that the Demon King lived in the palace. If the great demon king happened to be at home today and he was carrying the unconscious impatience, it would be too dangerous. However, the strange yet familiar calling in his heart made Yu Yang unable to resist his curiosity. Why would there be a mysterious life form calling out to him in the Demon King's palace? This kind of calling made Yu Yang puzzled. At first, he thought that it was just an illusion and that it was the influence of the dark whirlpool above the Demon King's palace. After carefully sensing and confirming, Yu Yang realized that it was real. Let's go and take a look. Yu Yang didn't know whether his decision was right or wrong, but he knew that this was definitely a risky move. He was in a tiger's den and knew nothing about the Demon Abyss Palace. He had to carry the unconscious impatience and follow the voice to find the life form that was calling him. Even a fool would know that it was impossible. The problem was, if Yu Yang didn't go and gave up the search and returned to the soaring dragon continent now, he wouldn't be able to rest easy for the rest of his life. As a man, there are some things that he shouldn't do. Sometimes he had to risk it all. It wouldn't do to be a coward all day. Yu Yang's heart was filled with heroism as he immediately made his decision. Yu Yang carried the impatience on his back and tied her with a ribbon, just like how he usually carried Yu Bing. He then put on the Gemini mask and summoned the golden mask's evil shadow. The evil shadow flew in the opposite direction. Although its strength was only half of Yu Yang's, and it could only exist for an hour, it was already impressive enough to be used to attract the enemy's attention. Yu Yang felt that the longer he stayed in this demon palace, the more dangerous it would be. There was a chance that the Demon King or some other expert could sense his presence at any time. In fact, the enemy might already know that he had intruded and was on his way. Yu Yang carried impatience on his back, and while channeling innate qi into her to help her recover from her injuries, he flew towards the direction that was calling him in his heart. As expected, at the evil shadow's side, countless demon guards discovered the intruder. There were even demon guards shouting and rushing towards Yu Yang. It seemed like they had some kind of monitoring device, just like the Great Xia Imperial Palace's treasure pearl. Yu Yang had never seen the nation-protecting pearl in the Great Xia Dynasty Palace, but he had heard about it from Old Cunning Fox and Princess Sisai. It was said that once there was an intruder with murderous intent, evil energy, or malicious intent, the nation-protecting pearl would change color and shoot out a strange energy light, activating the alarm. Under the state preceptor's reveal inherent skill, it could even display the intruder's position and approximate ability. Tianluo Kingdom also had a nation-protecting mirror. Its function was said to be stronger than the Xia Kingdom's nation-protecting pearl. It could even display the intruder's appearance. Since the Xia and Tianluo Kingdom both had this kind of alarm-triggering treasure, it was impossible for the Demon Abyss Palace to not have one. Yu Yang's only hope was that his disguise, inherent skill would be effective, causing the enemy to misjudge his strength and not alert the Demon King. Moreover, the Demon King had better be out and not having his fun in the Imperial harem. Otherwise, if he were to disturb the Demon King's sex life, he would definitely suffer the Demon King's wrath. Yu Yang's speed was extremely fast, and he teleported to a place where he could hide. In another direction, Evil Shadow was causing as much commotion as he could. Rumbling away, it attracted the attention of most of the demon guards. In the sky, more than 10 demon generals streaked across the sky, chasing after the Evil Shadow. There were even 2 demon commanders among them. Yu Yang no longer had any interest in the demon generals. He didn't even put the demon commanders in his eyes, even if it was Ma Liang, who had fought so hard to win. Ma Liang, the demon commander, was very famous among the warriors of the Soaring Dragon Continent. He was even called one of the 3 great demon commanders by the human warriors. However, in the eyes of innate rankers, this fellow was not even worth mentioning. He was at the level of an ant soldier. He could fight, but no matter how much he fought, he was still an ant. What made Yu Yang vigilant were the demon marshals and demon kings. The demon marshals were not like the marshals of the Soaring Dragon Continent. They were only able to become demon marshals because they were strong enough. Half of the human marshals were military exploits, and the other half were military intelligence. On the contrary, strength was not the most important thing. This was because the human marshals did not need to be the first to charge into battle. They needed to strategize and command the army from the back. The demon marshals were the opposite. They would lead the demon army to attack fiercely and be the first to charge into battle. Let alone the demon marshals. Even the demon kings were the same. The fighting style of the demon abyss was completely different from that of humans. Just the demon marshals that the old cunning fox had told Yu Yang before were innate rankers. There was even a demon Marshal Duran who was innate level 5 under the great demon king Baruth. He was the strongest demon marshal. His strength was equivalent to a normal demon king. If he appeared on the battlefield, no matter how many soldiers there were, they would not be enough for him to kill. Demon Marshal Duran was usually active in the 6th and 7th floor of Tong Tian Tower. He rarely participated in the battles of the lower floors. In the higher floors of Tong Tian Tower, he was the only one who was famous as a demon marshal. Yu Yang sincerely hoped that the place he was teleported to was not the great demon king Baruth's palace. This was because the great demon king Baruth was the head of the demon abyss blood prison's 3 great demon kings. Baruth's ranking was even higher than the demon king Ha Xin, who had almost killed Yu Yang in an instant. If Phoenix Fairy Beauty was fine, Yu Yang and her could work together to break into the imperial palace. If they couldn't win, they could escape. But now, Phoenix Fairy Beauty was heavily injured and unconscious. She still hadn't woken up. If he met Demon King Baruth and Demon Marshal Duran, Yu Yang felt that his next battle would be very difficult. He had just fought against the great emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian, and the Thousand Goblin sect leader, and he had not recovered. Now, he had to face another demon king. That would be terrible. After teleporting past a huge garden, he teleported past many strange demon towers. Yu Yang realized that the calling voice in his mind was getting closer. It was getting clearer, as if it was a cry for help. Yu Yang teleported for the last time and arrived at the edge of a huge square. He discovered that the huge square was paved with obsidian stones. It was as wide as a few dozen football fields. In the middle of the square, there was a huge statue of a demon king. Damn! Yu Yang realized that his worst fears had come true. This statue of the demon king was Baruth. Previously, the old cunning fox had shown Yu Yang an image of Baruth. Yu Yang could tell at a glance that Baruth and Ha Xin were similar, but they were not exactly the same. Baruth's horns were even more curved, and there were 2 horn-like magic thorns and 2 long magic whiskers on his lower jaw. He looked even more tyrannical and powerful than Ha Xin. In terms of body size, Baruth was also taller than Ha Xin by 1 meter. Of course, this could not be seen from this statue, because it was exaggerated. It was built at least 100 meters tall, giving off a feeling that it was looking down on the world. Yu Yang only took a glance at this huge statue and ignored it. It could not absorb all of his attention. What really caught Yu Yang's attention were the crystal pillars surrounding the huge statue. There were more than 10 crystal pillars of different lengths. They were 10 meters tall and a few meters short. They shone with a brilliant light of energy. The ancient runes and heaven runes on the crystal pillars were arranged in different ways, looking extremely mysterious. Yu Yang could see something strange with his heaven eyes' divine vision. He felt that these crystal pillars were not as simple as the statue of the demon King Hui Yao. Their main purpose was to seal. Through converting the demon's belief or some kind of sacrifice, these crystal pillars continuously strengthened or maintained the power of the seal. The life form that summoned Yu Yang was sealed under the statue of the demon king in the center of the crystal pillars. I know you're down there, but how do I save you? Yu Yang had a headache. The plaza was filled with all kinds of demons. They were running all over the place, as if they were frightened. Even more demon guards dragged all kinds of beasts over and killed them in front of the crystal pillars, using their demon blood as a sacrifice. There were also demon evil liches that surrounded the crystal pillars, shouting and waving the skeleton staffs in their hands. Maybe it was because it sensed Yu Yang's arrival. The life form sealed in the crystal pillars struggled nonstop, as if it wanted to break out of the seal. The giant plaza that was paved with obsidian shook and trembled. The 100-meter tall statue of the Demon King was also trembling. Cracks started to appear on it, and they were getting bigger and bigger, as if it could collapse at any time. Even more evil liches joined in the sacrificial dance. The skeleton staffs flashed with a terrifying black light under the summoning, turning the demon blood on the ground into even more dark energy and condensing it into the statue of the Demon King. Yu Yang realized that the more he sacrificed, the more the dark energy could repair the cracks on the statue and continue to suppress the life form. Of course, the main reason was that the crystal pillars had received the support of the energy. After absorbing the energy, the seal became stronger, causing the struggling and trembling of the life form to lessen. The enemy is attacking. Intensify the sacrifice. You must not let it out. Otherwise, all of you will become the Hell Black Dragon's food. Demon Marshal Duran rode on a Hell Black Dragon and appeared in the sky. His roar was like thunder, scaring the demons below to the point that they were trembling. Demon Marshal Duran felt a little strange. He felt that the plaza today was different from usual. Of course, it could be because the seal had loosened, because the evil shadow was frantically escaping on the other side, massacring all along the way. Demon Marshal Duran did not investigate the strange feeling in his heart. Otherwise, Yu Yang, who was hiding in a corner while holding his breath, would definitely be found by him. Demon Marshal Duran did not think that humans had the disguise inherent skill and could even hide from him. Riding on his diamond-ranked level 6 Hell Black Dragon, he chased after the evil shadow. He knew that there were 2 or 3 intruders, but one of them was the strongest, while the other 2 were completely disproportionate in strength. He reckoned that they were purposely released to lure the Demon Guard's beasts. He never thought that it was Yu Yang and the unconscious impatience. Otherwise, he would have found them no matter what. Duan Mu Long Chung was currently standing on an ancient battlefield. Tens of thousands of demons were waiting to be teleported. According to the rules, the more sacrifices there were, the more people would be teleported, and the more powerful they would be. Tens of thousands of low-level demons or beasts were pushed into the pit of 10,000 people as sacrifices. However, the teleportation gate was far from enough to support so many demons to invade the soaring dragon continent. What made the 3 demon marshals the most furious was that there were 2 places where the teleportation failed. They had entered a small dimension instead of their original destination. A 20-year-old innate? He really chased after us? Respected sect leader Duan Mu, we have never heard of a 20-year-old innate. All right, we don't doubt it, but where is he? The 3 demon marshals were very respectful towards Duan Mu Long Chung. It seemed that not only were they familiar with each other, their relationship was not shallow. I'm sure that he chased after us, but that brat is good at hiding himself. I think he is hiding somewhere. Duan Mu Long Chung was very sure. If that's the case, let's report to His Majesty the Demon King. The 3 demon marshals decided to report the news. The great Demon King's palace. There's an intruder. It's a human warrior. That human warrior is heading towards this direction at a high speed. He's 100 miles away. Suddenly, a lich's beast received a strange message and reported it to its master. The lich immediately shouted, "It's him!" Duan Mu Long Chung immediately confirmed that it was Yu Yang. Demon Marshal Duran is chasing after us. That lich's beast received a strange message again, and the lich continued to shout loudly. At this moment, at the Obsidian Plaza, Yu Yang saw that Demon Marshal Duran had left and immediately launched an attack. Since Demon King Baruth wasn't at home and Demon Marshal Duran was chasing after the enemy, he couldn't be courteous with them. Every minute they stayed here was a minute more dangerous. Yu Yang took out his Hui Jin magic blade and swung it down from the sky, killing the 2 liches who were performing the sacrificial dance. He then waved his blade, and countless demon soldiers fell to the ground like he was cutting wheat. By the time the demon's alarm sounded, Yu Yang had already cleared the liches and demons from the crystal pillar array. The first slash, earth-splitting slash, exploded in Yu Yang's hands and fiercely slashed towards the gigantic statue. Yu Yang was prepared to destroy the statue, and save the sealed life form below. Although he didn't know what it was or how it was related to him, Yu Yang had a strange feeling in his heart that he must save it. The Demon King's statue didn't shatter, but the cracks on it increased greatly. At the same time, the sealed life form let out a joyful tremor and struggled even harder. The ground trembled and rumbled. Damn it! Demon Marshal Duran seemed to have sensed it and immediately reacted. He roared angrily, his terrifying voice deafening. He rode on the hell-black dragon and retraced his steps. His speed was several times faster than before as he rushed towards the Obsidian Plaza. Chapter 295. Rumble. The Demon King's statue did not move at all. Other than a shallow mark, the crack did not even widen. Yu Yang sweated profusely. This Demon King's statue was not something that could be cut down by his blade. Looking at it this way, how strong was the mysterious life form that could break the Demon King's statue just by moving its body? If it wasn't for the Crystal Pillar Array's seal, the mysterious life form would probably be able to destroy this Demon King statue with a flip of its body. Compared to Yu Yang, what kind of existence was it? Countless demon guards rushed over after hearing the news. There were even 2 demon generals in the middle. It was not good to stay here for long, in case something bad happened. Yu Yang decided to use his ultimate move. The world exterminating wheel condensed in his hands. Countless ancient runes and heaven runes revolved around it, as if it was a sea of runes. Yu Yang waved the world exterminating wheel and cut the Demon King's statue in half. Immediately, half of the Demon King's statue fell down with a rumble, heavily smashing onto the ground. The statue's body was broken, and the demon horn on its head was broken. Amidst the broken rocks, the giant energy crystal's edge was revealed. It was shining with an abnormally strong energy wave. After losing the support of the crystal pillar formation, it could no longer protect the statue. Yu Yang was overjoyed. Just as he was about to fly down and collect the gigantic energy crystal, taking it for himself, who would have thought that the crystal pillar formation below would shine with a net of white light? Thousands of white lights moved as if they had a life of their own. They were like the gentle arms of a woman, wrapping around Yu Yang's body. They gently and irresistibly pulled Yu Yang down, as if they wanted to seal him. Yu Yang sweated profusely. Not only did he fail to save someone, he also got himself killed. Yu Yang hurriedly threw out the world exterminating wheel, preparing to destroy the crystal pillar formation. Previously, Yu Yang wanted to try and decipher it. He felt that the rune seal on the crystal pillar formation might be helpful to him in unsealing Queen Vivian Li, so he didn't want to destroy it immediately. But now that the situation was critical, Yu Yang couldn't care too much anymore. He used the world exterminating wheel to destroy the crystal pillar formation first. The world exterminating wheel, which had always been successful, hit a crystal pillar. Contrary to Yu Yang's expectations, it didn't slash past him like before. Instead, it bounced back. In an instant, it returned to Yu Yang's body. Could it be that this crystal pillar array was impossible to destroy? As soon as this thought appeared in Yu Yang's mind, he released it. The ancient runes and heaven runes on the crystal pillar formation appeared. The light of energy was thousands of times brighter, illuminating the entire obsidian square as if it was daytime. The devils that rushed over to attack Yu Yang were illuminated by the white light, and all of them showed painful expressions. The weakest demon that was closest to the crystal pillar formation was completely vaporized, as if it had been shot by Luo Hua City Mistress Aurora. The demon that was slightly further away had its entire body melted, dying painfully as it howled miserably. The strongest demon that was further away also let out a wail as it scrambled to escape. Other than the 2 demon generals who were emitting smoke from their bodies, all the demon guards were dead. The lowest ranked devils, who were very far away, started to vaporize. The net of white light pulled Yu Yang down to the ground, wrapping him in the impatiens like a huge light cocoon. Countless ancient runes and heaven runes danced in the air and landed on Yu Yang and the impatiens' body one by one. Impatiens' body became faintly transparent as if she was being sealed. However, Yu Yang wasn't. The ancient runes and heaven runes didn't have any sealing power on his body. Like a tide, they entered Yu Yang's body and merged with the original rune circle on his body, forming a new rune circle. After the new runes were injected into the world-exterminating wheel, its power increased by another level. The rune circles inside were more abundant and more profound. Yu Yang was slightly startled. He didn't think that the ancient wheel could still increase its power. Furthermore, this kind of improvement seemed to be related to his body obtaining more new ancient runes. I'm going to faint. Yu Yang felt that he was very safe, but he realized that the impatience his body had almost disappeared. He didn't know how to stop this kind of sealing power. Could it be that the impatience was going to be sealed here forever? There must be a way, there must be. Yu Yang tried his best to calm himself down. He tried his best to sense the ripples of energy in the surroundings, preparing to break the seal and save the impatience and the mysterious life form that had been sealed for an unknown amount of time. At this moment, in the sky, the furious demon Marshal Duran was riding on the hell-black dragon. The hell-black dragon felt an indescribable fear towards the dazzling white light below. It refused to dive down and let out a series of roars. Demon Marshal Duran also felt slightly uncomfortable. He knew how terrifying the sealing power of the crystal pillar circle was. That was a treasure brought back from the heaven realm by a super ranker from the demon abyss 10,000 years ago. He originally wanted to use it to seal the human Ji-Zun, but he never had the chance to use it. As a treasure of the demon palace, the crystal pillar circle had been passed down from generation to generation. 300 years ago, the great demon King Baruth and demon Marshal Duran encountered an injured mystical beast in the 7th floor of Tong Tian Tower. They were excited to see the prey and invited the rankers of the demon abyss to lead several demon kings and 10 demon marshals to surround and capture the mystical beast, who knew that things would go beyond their expectations. Even though the mystical beast was heavily injured, 2 demon kings and 8 demon marshals still died in the battle. Even the great demon king Baruth himself was not lightly injured. Furthermore, there was no way to confine and bind the mystical beast. In the end, demon Marshal Duran could only borrow the crystal pillar circle to seal it. If this mystical beast were to break out of the seal, the consequences would be unthinkable. Dark Whirlpool, demon Marshal Duran, was forced to use the strongest defense of the demon palace, the dark whirlpool that had condensed the energy of the demon moon and the blood prison for thousands of years. It was the treasure of the demon abyss. Only it could suppress the brilliant energy of the crystal pillar circle and suppress that terrifying white light. The dark whirlpool in the sky slowly descended under demon Marshal Duran's summon. In the entire demon palace, other than the great demon King Baruth, demon Marshal Duran was the only ranker who could control the dark whirlpool. This was not only a matter of summoning ability, it was also a matter of honor and trust. The great demon King Baruth did not even authorize his own son, including the demon palace crown prince who would inherit the throne in the future. Instead, he gave the power to control the dark whirlpool to his most loyal comrade, demon Marshal Duran, a true comrade who was willing to give up on becoming a demon king and stay by his side as a demon marshal to assist him. Demon Marshal Duran took out the dark magic pearl and added a large amount of demon chi into it. He kept chanting the heaven runes, controlling the dark whirlpool to descend and suppress the white light. Light and darkness, a great battle broke out in that instant. Both sides' energies countered each other. They melted each other, but they were endless and clashed together. The dark whirlpool that had accumulated energy for thousands of years had the upper hand. The dark whirlpool that could cover the sky of the demon palace pressed the energy released by the crystal pillar's circle into a ball. Under the energy of the dark whirlpool, the hell black dragon's battle power increased by several times. It swooped down and spat out a long dragon's breath towards the white light below. Its target was the light cocoon that was binding Yu Yang. More and more demon guards, demon generals and liches ran out of the demon palace, frantically sacrificing the slaves or low-level devils in their hands in the dark whirlpool, turning the demon blood into energy, strengthening the power of the dark whirlpool, speeding up the suppression of the white light of the crystal pillar array, restoring the crystal pillar array to its original state. At this time, in the ancient battlefield, the three demon marshals and Duan Mu Long Chung had already received the news. They gave up on attacking the soaring dragon continent and rushed over at full speed. Compared to invading the soaring dragon continent, the abnormality of the holy beast that was sealed by the crystal pillar circle in the demon palace's obsidian plaza made them even more urgent. Once it broke the seal and jumped out of the crystal pillar circle, it would be a great disaster for the entire demon abyss. At the peak of the demon abyss blood prison, there were 3 great demon kings and 6 demon kings. Now, there were only 3 great demon kings and 1 demon king left. Not to mention the demon marshals that died in battle. They had lost 5 demon kings. This was all thanks to the holy beast. The human rankers used 1,000 years to kill the 5 demon kings. However, the holy beast only used a day to kill the 5 demon kings and heavily injure the rest. The entire devil abyss trembled and wailed in anguish. Furthermore, at that time, it was still an injured holy beast. If it was not injured and fought in its peak condition, the consequences would be unimaginable. Hurry up, so that Brat Yu Yang's real motive is to release the holy beast. Hurry up and stop him, no matter the cost. Duan Mu Long Chung was obviously a human warrior, but he was exceptionally concerned about the hidden dangers of the demon abyss. It was really puzzling. He and the 3 demon marshals abandoned all the soldiers and rushed towards the Demon King's palace and the Obsidian Plaza with the fastest speed they could muster. Obsidian Plaza. Demon Marshal Duran rode on the hell-black dragon and charged down from the sky. He passed through the dark whirlpool and shot his terrifying dragon breath towards the light cocoon that was trapping Yu Yang. However, the dragon breath instantly melted in the white light and turned into nothingness. Yu Yang, who was trapped in the light cocoon, unleashed his innate qi. He cut the light cocoon with a sizzling sound, preparing to forcefully break out of the cocoon. Demon Marshal Duran thought that Yu Yang was the holy beast that was about to break out of the cocoon. His expression changed, and he immediately summoned 5 meteors, forming a large meteor shower that smashed towards Yu Yang, who was trapped in the light cocoon. After passing through the dark whirlpool, the power of the burning meteors increased by several times. They broke through the obstruction of the white light. Although half of the meteors were melted, they still carried the power to destroy heaven and earth as they smashed heavily onto the light cocoon. The light cocoon was a type of sealing power. Whether it was internal or external defense, it was extremely good. Other than the innate sword qi, Yu Yang could not break it even with his yin and yang powers. The meteors smashed onto the light cocoon, causing it to shake violently, but it did not move at all. Although Yu Yang, who was trapped inside, was not injured, he was still shaken by the shockwave and felt dizzy. Roar! The great demon king Baruth arrived. His body, which was more than 15 meters tall and covered in the terrifying black flames of hell, appeared in the obsidian square. When Baruth saw that the crystal pillar formation was trembling nonstop and could collapse at any time, and that his statue had long been shattered on the ground, he was immediately enraged. He rumbled towards the walls of the demon palace, and his giant arm broke the entire demon tower on the wall. He raised it high. Then he ruthlessly threw it towards the light cocoon in the distance. Its power was even stronger than the 5 flaming meteors summoned by Demon Marshal Duran. The light cocoon was hit repeatedly and violently shook. Its light became dim and almost shattered. Although Yu Yang was not lightly shaken by the shockwave, the light cocoon that was originally blocking him from leaving had a big hole. This made him happy. It seemed that he finally had a chance to escape. It would be best if he could use a few more fierce attacks to break even the seal below. This was what Yu Yang was looking forward to. Of course, even if he could leave, he didn't rush out immediately. He didn't want to become the enemy's target. The great demon king Baruth roared like thunder. His arms condensed an incomparably powerful light pillar. It was similar to the light pillar that Demon King Ha-Exian shot out before that Yu Yang had seen. It was just that the color was slightly different, and the power seemed to be slightly stronger. The purplish-black light pillar shot over angrily. After passing through the dark whirlpool at extreme speed, the purplish-black Demon King's light pillar's power increased by several times. It could practically destroy heaven and earth. It heavily smashed onto the cracked light cocoon. The light cocoon immediately shattered with a loud bang. Most of the energy dissipated with the Demon King's light pillar. A small part of it shattered, and countless light spots splashed in all directions. After that purplish-black Demon King's light pillar touched the ground, there was an earth-shattering explosion. Yu Yang summoned his grimoire and raised his protective shield to protect his life. What a joke! Who would take that kind of light pillar head on? The most important point was that Yu Yang had already calculated the angle. Before the Demon King's light pillar hit him, he would use his protective shield to deflect the Demon King's light pillar to hit the ground, further destroying the seal below the crystal pillar. He felt that it would be difficult for him to fight the Demon King alone. He definitely had to find a helper, such as a mysterious life form that could make the whole obsidian square tremble with just a movement of his body. Only then would he have a chance of winning. The power of the Demon King's light pillar was extremely terrifying, but it was still not enough to break the seal. Yu Yang was about to give up all hope. Wasn't this damned seal too strong? When the great Demon King Baruth and Demon Marshal Duran saw that there was a young human warrior in the middle of the explosion, they immediately understood that it was this brat's trick. They were incomparably furious and prepared to pounce on Yu Yang to kill him. Baruth's demon claws stretched out. Yu Yang definitely believed that his claws could pierce through his protective shield. Previously, the Demon King Ha-Exian had tried and almost killed him with a single finger. It was only because he was behind the teleportation door and couldn't come over. His arms weren't long enough, and with little one Li's binding chain's inherent skill, he was able to escape. Now, there was nothing. Without the teleportation door, this demon palace was still the enemy's lair. He was alone, facing countless demons. The most miserable one was the Impatience, who had almost disappeared. It seemed that the seal was effective against her. If he wanted to escape, she would be sealed inside forever. At this moment, Yu Yang's mind was in a mess. Should he fight, or should he escape? Why did he always meet powerful people every time? He had just beaten up the great emperor of Ji Wei, Shun Tian, and the Thousand Goblin sect leader, and now there were two more, the great Demon King Baruth and Demon Marshal Duran. It was hard for him to fight alone. How could he fight this battle? Rumble, rumble, rumble. Under Yu Yang's feet, the ground trembled violently. The weaker demons fell to the ground, and even the demon generals couldn't stand steadily. Amidst the trembling of the crystal pillars, a few of them tilted and fell to the ground. A few sunk into the ground, and a few bounced off. The ceiling formation was successfully broken by the mysterious life form that had been accumulating power for a long time. The white light ceiling formation instantly collapsed and shattered into pieces. Countless white light turned into light arrows and shot in all directions. All the devils that were hit were instantly killed on the spot. Even the great Demon King Baruth and Demon Marshal Duran had to stop moving forward and block with their hands. The hell-black dragon spat out dragon's breath and blocked a few light arrows, but it still missed one. It brushed past its abdomen. Even though it was a diamond-ranked level 6 dragon, its flesh was immediately cut open and blood flowed out. The ground trembled so much that even the demon palace was shaking. The sturdy city walls collapsed. The obsidian plaza exploded. It turned out that both of the Demon King's statues' feet had exploded. Millions of broken rocks were sent flying for a few kilometers, but they still didn't fall to the ground. A gigantic black hole appeared on the ground, and the sealed demonic energy shot into the sky like a fountain. In less than 3 seconds, another light cocoon appeared. It was even bigger and stronger than the one that was binding Yu Yang just now. However, the surface of the light cocoon started to peel off, as if something was breaking out of the cocoon. When Yu Yang saw this, he couldn't care less about the great demon king beside him anymore. Now was the time to save his ally. He immediately used the fastest speed in his life and flew over. His innate invisible sword chi formed a net of sword chi to help cut open the light cocoon. The great demon king Baruth and demon marshal Duran also used the fastest speed in their lives to stop him. For gigantic demon claws were aimed at Yu Yang's small body. They arrived in the sky. As long as any one of the claws hit Yu Yang, his body would definitely be torn into pieces. Fight! It was already too late for Yu Yang to condense his world-exterminating wheel. He could only use Nirvana's flame. The Nirvana's flame pillar suddenly soared into the sky. The great demon king Baruth and demon marshal Duran wanted to kill him. They had to pay the price. Baruth and Duran, the two great experts, clearly knew that the Nirvana's flame pillar that exploded from Yu Yang's body, but they didn't retreat. 4 terrifying demon claws attacked from the front and back. They passed through the Nirvana's flame pillar and landed on Yu Yang's body. Yu Yang's ribs and spine were almost immediately shattered. His internal organs were greatly shaken. Demon Marshal Duran's sharp claws only managed to cut through Yu Yang's chest and was deflected by the Nirvana's flame shield. It was unable to pierce through Yu Yang's body. However, the great demon king Baruth's sharp claws broke through Yu Yang's Nirvana's flame shield and pierced deeply into Yu Yang's body. Even the transparent impatience, who had almost disappeared, was pierced through as well. Fortunately, Yu Yang managed to use binding chains in time to freeze for 1/10 of a second. He then used graceful sword dance to dodge the claws, avoiding the head, heart, and other vital points. One of Baruth's sharp claws pierced through Yu Yang's lungs and came out from his back. Then, it pierced through Impatience's transparent body. His other hand, the sharp demon claws pierced through Yu Yang's right thigh and brushed past the Impatience's shin. It pierced through Yu Yang's left knee and came out from his calf. The great demon King Baruth was prepared to twist his hands and almost tear Yu Yang and Impatience into pieces. How could Yu Yang give him such a chance? Little Wan Li's binding chains inherent skill was activated again. At the same time, she endured the pain and teleported 10 meters away. He did not care about healing his injuries. Since his injuries would heal automatically in the Nirvana flame, Yu Yang immediately condensed world-exterminating wheel in his left hand and star explosion in his right hand. He was prepared to return the favor. He was prepared to give his enemy a fierce counterattack. Just now, when Yu Yang wanted to save the mysterious life form, he had to take the attack head-on. How could Yu Yang be someone who was willing to suffer losses? Actually, under the irresistible Nirvana flame that could purify everything in the world, Baruth and Duran were not completely unharmed. Demon Marshal Duran was the first to retract his hand. He painfully tore off his burning skin and flesh from his arm. He had this kind of skin removal ability. The Nirvana flame only damaged the surface of his body and did not burn his bones and flesh. The great Demon King Baruth also quickly retracted his hand and shot out a ball of Demon King light from his mouth. Inside the ball of light, there was a little demon that looked similar to Baruth. The Nirvana flame could not be eliminated, but it could be transferred. Baruth miraculously transferred the Nirvana flame to the little demon's body. In the end, the Nirvana flame on his arm gradually weakened and disappeared. The little demon that was burned by the Nirvana flame painfully turned into ashes and was killed on the spot. What was strange was that the mysterious life form that struggled in the light cocoon and finally broke out of it. It did not have the slightest bit of fear towards the Nirvana flame. It seemed that the Nirvana flame would not cause any harm to its body. It drilled its head out and charged into Yu Yang's Nirvana flame pillar, allowing the Nirvana flame to burn its body. Yu Yang, who was recovering from his injuries in the Nirvana flame, was stunned when he saw this. This fellow was actually Chapter 296. Dragon head, deer antlers, lion eyes, tiger back, snake scales, oxtail. Wasn't this the legendary Qilin? However, the only difference was that this Qilin had beautiful claws under its four legs, and not the horse hooves described in the legends. Yu Yang was stunned. He vaguely remembered that Qilins were male and Qilins were female. The former had claws, while the latter had horse hooves. Could it be that this fellow was male? But no matter what, it was a Qilin. How could it bathe in Nirvana's flames? All right, this fellow was a fire Qilin. The Qilin's originally dark green body gradually melted in the Nirvana's flames, turning back into a white jade-like body, sparkling and translucent. A mysterious white light was emitted from its body. It was as bright as the stars and as soft as the moon. Baruth still wanted to attack, but the Qilin opened its mouth. A pillar of light shot out. The great demon King Baruth, who had almost killed Yu Yang in an instant, immediately dodged as if he had seen a great enemy. The pillar of light that shot out without any preparation seemed to have no attacking power on the surface. It looked more like a healing holy white light. However, in just a second, Yu Yang changed his view. This was because he saw that the pillar of light had destroyed a large part of the obsidian city wall. It had plowed a deep hole on the ground, extending for hundreds of meters without disappearing. The power of this white light was even stronger than Baruth's Demon King's light pillar. The difference between this and the Demon King's light pillar was that this white light would not explode. It could only kill creatures in a straight line. It was similar to City Mistress Fallen Flowers' Aurora light, but its power was much stronger and its attack range was much longer. This Qilin was so powerful. Could it be a divine beast? It was a pity that it was a male. Yu Yang was very disappointed. He had risked his life to save a male Qilin, and not a female Qilin. That was too sad. Before he could throw out his world-exterminating wheel and star explosion, he suddenly felt a pain in his arm. His body was being dragged, and the scenery in front of him flew backwards. Yu Yang was stunned. He immediately realized that the Qilin was actually dragging him with its mouth to escape. He sweated. He thought that if he let it out, it would instantly kill the great demon King Baruth, who knew that it was a coward. Luckily, Impatience was still on his back. Otherwise, Yu Yang would have to fight it with all his might. Luckily, it was a divine beast. Luckily, it was still on its back, Impatience. This Qilin was too useless. Yu Yang was just about to grab the Qilin's neck and climb onto its back. How would it look if it kept biting his arm and dragging him? When the Qilin realized that Yu Yang was about to climb onto its back, it immediately turned hostile and headbutted Yu Yang, sending him flying. It completely didn't see Yu Yang as its savior. This Qilin was not loyal at all. He ran away by himself, leaving Yu Yang behind. When Yu Yang bounced up from the ground, he found that Baruth and Duran had blocked all his escape routes. Why didn't they chase after the Qilin? Instead, they surrounded him. What kind of logic was this? Yu Yang had a headache. He had worked so hard to save the Qilin, but who would have thought that would be so disloyal? In the sky, Demon King Ha-Exian and another Demon King appeared. Yu Yang broke out in a cold sweat. The demonic abyss was indeed a dragon's pool and tiger's den. He had really poked a hornet's nest. Demon Kings came one after another. What's going on? The only thing that made him rejoice was that the Impatience behind him had finally woken up. When she saw the scene in front of her, she asked in shock, "The soaring dragon continent has been invaded by the demon abyss. All three great demon kings have come?" "No, this is the demon palace." Yu Yang quickly denied. "Why did you come to the demon palace?" The Impatience was stunned. He had just finished fighting with Shun Tian. Why did he come to the demon palace to fight with the great demon kings? "For a vacation," Yu Yang answered with certainty. The Impatience was speechless. The great demon King Baruth obviously recognized the Impatience. Forget about him. Even Demon Marshal Duran and the other two demon kings also recognized the Impatience. They had probably fought many times in the higher levels of Tong Tian Tower. The great demon King Baruth suppressed his anger and said, "I was wondering who it was. So it's Skylaw." Your human innate alliance has broken the ancient oath and invaded our blood-prison demon palace. Since that's the case, we will no longer abide by the ancient oath and directly attack your soaring dragon continent." When the impatience heard this, she immediately denied. "What? I was sleeping just now. I didn't know that this little fellow brought me to the demon palace. Furthermore, this broken place of yours is gloomy and scary. I don't like coming here." The demon king Ha-Xian looked at Yu Yang and immediately recognized him. "So it's you." Yu Yang sweated profusely. He could even recognize him with the Gemini mask on his face. Wasn't the demon king Ha-Xian's ability to sense auras too strong? Towards the demon king Ha-Xian's angry reaction, everyone was very curious. Ha-Xian had not stepped into the soaring dragon continent for more than 100 years. How did he know this young human? This young man's life energy ripples looked like he was only 20 years old, and he had never appeared in the 6th floor of Tong Tian Tower before. How did Ha-Xian know him? Among them, the impatience was the most curious. She did understand why Yu Yang's enemies were even in the demon abyss. How many people had this brat offended? Towards her questioning gaze, Yu Yang could only smile apologetically. He didn't want to become enemies with the demon king Ha-Xian. Who would want to become enemies with the demon king? But at that time, he really had no choice. This human boy is the one who broke my arm a year ago. When the demon king Ha-Xian said this, everyone sweated profusely. This brat's ability to cause trouble was not small. A young man who can control the world exterminating wheel. This is really a rare occurrence. Another demon king sighed. Could it be that the soaring dragon continent is going to have a new Ji-Zun? Looks like we have to do everything we can to eliminate this hidden danger. Don't misunderstand, I'm not interested in the Ji-Zun throne. My goal in life is to enjoy a blissful sexual life. Yu Yang immediately pretended to be a good-for-nothing. "My dear Baruth, my friend, why didn't you introduce me, your old friend, when you have a distinguished guest at your door? Could it be that you think that my old bones are useless and will only make you lose face?" On the other side of the sky, in the southeast direction, another 2 figures appeared. They were the Lich King from the other side of the Demon Abyss, the Underworld Ghost Clan. The Demon Abyss was 10 times bigger than the soaring dragon continent, but there were only 3 main forces. The second force was the Underworld, which was led by the Demon King. The Undead Ghost Clan was also the nightmare of the human army. The third force was the Eternal Night, which was said to be a new force formed by the fallen angels who were exiled from the heaven realm 10,000 years ago. They rarely fought with humans in the lower levels of Tong Tian Tower, and rarely invaded the soaring dragon continent. However, those who were in the 4th floor of Tong Tian Tower and above, or the other Outer Realms continents, all knew about the infamous fallen angel army. Their terrifying reputation was not any weaker than the undead army and the evil ghost army. Different from humans, the creatures in the demon abyss lived by the law of the jungle. There were killings everywhere. However, the king rankers who were at the top of the food chain were very united. In comparison, the human innate rankers, if it wasn't for the innate alliance's agreement to balance out the forces, they would have already started fighting each other. The humans' 3 great kingdoms for great clans for great sects, Demonic Palace and Thousand Goblin Sect, all had different goals. It was only under the mediation of the innate alliance's Elder Nangong that they reluctantly followed the agreement that they made, that they managed to achieve peace on the surface. Yu Yang recognized one of the 2 Lich Kings as Grun. This fellow was also his enemy. Previously, when Yu Yang had fought with Gulun, he had even killed the Flame Lord that Guluan had thrown out. Now, the 2 cores on the Huiji Magic Blade were the Flame Core and the Bone Dragon's Magic Core. He just didn't know if Guluan would be so forgetful as to forget about this small matter. Yu Yang hoped that the Lich King Grun didn't recognize him, but it was obviously not possible. The Lich King Grun glanced at Yu Yang with his dark green eyes and laughed weirdly. Speaking of which, I also recognized this young innate. He had killed my followers in the dimension of Duel. At that time, I attacked him with my claw, but he dodged it easily. He knows a binding skill that can freeze our attacks for a second. Demon King Ha-Xian added. Why are you always surrounded by enemies? The impatiens couldn't help but laugh. Do you think I wanted to? It was them who wanted to kill me. That's why I was forced to defend myself. I'm not that stupid to find trouble with them. They're the ones who complained first. Do you understand? Yu Yang was very angry. The problem is that there are 3 demon kings and 2 lich king standing in front of us. Do you think they will find their conscience and realize that they are in the wrong? The impatiens giggled as she hugged Yu Yang's shoulders, pressing her towering breasts against his back. She breathed into his ear. It's a pity that I don't have any strength left. Otherwise, I would help you fight one. If it wasn't for the famous Sky Law, the impatiens, the few demon kings, would have surrounded Yu Yang and trampled him to death. They could tell that the impatiens was injured and her strength wasn't the same as before. But they definitely wouldn't underestimate her. Even if Sky Law was heavily injured, if she was determined to fight with her life on the line, it was still very possible for her to kill one of them. No one wanted to be the unlucky one. The 3 demon kings and the 2 lich kings were secretly communicating with the demon abyss secret language, preparing to execute the best plan to capture and kill Yu Yang. No matter what, they wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity. It would be a great loss to the human innates if they could kill the young innates with great potential and the powerful Sky Law here. If the human Jizun got into trouble while exploring the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower and couldn't return to the Soaring Dragon Continent, the Soaring Dragon Continent would come to an end and irreversibly perish under the influence of the Dark Whirlpool. The Demon Kings and Lich King's powers increased by several folds. Yu Yang and the Impatiens' powers were suppressed. Although it didn't affect them too much, it still affected them slightly. As time went by, the gap between them grew bigger and bigger. Fortunately, the Impatiens' injuries had gotten better after being healed by Yu Yang's large amount of innate qi. Furthermore, she was in a sealed state just now, and her body was transparent. The Nirvana flame didn't seem to cause much damage to her. Of course, there might be other reasons. Yu Yang still couldn't understand why the Impatiens' body had the ability to resist the Nirvana flame. Could it be that his Nirvana flame had its own consciousness? Could it differentiate between friend and foe? Yu Yang didn't have time to think too much. This thought flashed past his mind. What do we do now? The Impatiens felt that the 3 demon kings and the 2 lich kings seemed to have made a secret agreement. They were about to attack. You ask me, who should I ask? Yu Yang had no other way now. He couldn't use scrolls to escape in the Dark Whirlpool. The space had already been suppressed by the Dark Seal. Even if he ran with his legs, he wouldn't be able to outrun the Demon Kings. Other than risking his life, Yu Yang couldn't think of a better way. If the Impatiens wasn't here, he could still hide in the black hole space where Queen Vivian Li was. He could come out after he became stronger. If he didn't release Queen Vivian Li, she would definitely be able to defeat them no matter how many Demon Kings there were. However, reality was cruel. Not only was the Impatiens here, she was also injured. Although Yu Yang was afraid of death, he couldn't abandon an injured woman and escape alone, especially when this girl had risked her life to save him not too long ago, taking a fatal blow for him, abandoning the woman he liked and was his savior to escape alone. This kind of behavior, when Yang thought about it, he couldn't help but despise himself. The Impatient suddenly sighed. Actually, I have an idea. She seemed to have a way to send Yu Yang away. But needless to say, to send Yu Yang away, she would have to pay the price with her life. Yu Yang didn't even listen and shook his head in rejection. I'm a man. At the most important moment, you have to listen to me. If I say leave, then leave. If I say fight, then fight. The Impatiens hugged Yu Yang and kissed his cheeks happily in her heart. Wawa, little Yu Yang, you're so manly. If you were a little more handsome, maybe I would like you. The 3 demon kings and 2 Witch kings didn't care about the touching moment between Yu Yang and the Impatiens. They all had hearts of stone, including Demon Marshal Duran. The 6 rankers stood in 6 different directions, gathering energy at the same time. They were prepared to attack together and kill the 2 of them on the spot. In the sky, a white light flashed slightly. The Qilin that ran away just now suddenly returned. It tilted its head and looked at Yu Yang. After looking for a while, It suddenly spoke out of Yu Yang's expectations. Why aren't you running? Eh. When Yu Yang heard that the voice didn't seem to be male, but female, his mood immediately became better. Why did you come back? I got lost, so I came back to ask how to get to Tong Tian Tower or Heaven Realm. When the Qilin said that, the impatience and the other demon kings almost fell to the ground. Natural days? Yu Yang remembered that there was a very strong attribute, which was natural days. I'm talking about Heaven Realm, not natural days. Don't you know how to get to Heaven Realm? You're really an idiot. The Qilin's words made Yu Yang burst into laughter. Other than humanoid beasts, Yu Yang had never seen an animal-type beast that could talk. Furthermore, it was so cute. The cutest thing was that her personality was natural days. I don't know how to get to Heaven Realm, but I know how to get to Tong Tian Tower. Impatience expressed that she knew, but looking at her smiling face, it was obvious that the fox wanted to eat chicken. No, Mom said that most women are hypocritical, jealous, selfish, and can't be trusted. When the Qilin said that, Impatience sweated profusely. That's right. Yu Yang clapped his hands and praised. Those demons with low abilities should know where Tong Tian Tower is. It's a pity that I haven't recovered my strength. Otherwise, I could catch them to lead the way. When the Qilin said that, the other demon kings had the urge to hit their heads against the wall. Were they demons with low abilities? Did you come from Heaven Realm? Even the demon kings wanted to know the answer to Yu Yang's question. Heaven Realm only existed in legends. What was it like? Right now, no one knew. If this lost holy beast really came from Heaven Realm, then it must know about Heaven Realm. At the very least, it could prove that Heaven Realm existed. The naturally dazed Qilin denied Yu Yang's question. I'm not from Heaven Realm. Heaven Realm is very boring. There's no fun place. The people there are very fierce and unreasonable. I don't like Heaven Realm. If it wasn't for the fact that I have to pass through Heaven Realm on my way home, I would never go there again. It's not fun at all. Yu Yang pointed at the great demon King Baruth and asked the Qilin girl, look at this demon who sealed you. If he went to Heaven Realm, how strong would he be? The Qilin girl thought for a while and gave an answer that made everyone sweat. I don't know. I've only played in Heaven Realm for a few hundred years. I'm not familiar with the situation there. In terms of strength, I think the mercenaries who sometimes run around foolishly are about the same as him. Baruth almost burst into tears. He could only be a mercenary in Heaven Realm? Lich King Grun made a gesture to the great demon King Baruth, indicating that he must keep this holy beast that had not recovered its strength at all costs and seal it again. They could slowly study it in the future. Everyone's future path to Heaven Realm might be on this holy beast body. Is there a higher realm above Heaven Realm? If there is, then are there little Taoist priests who can fly on swords? Yu Yang asked again. I can't talk anymore. Mom said that my voice is still very tender, so I can't talk too much. Otherwise, if my voice becomes hoarse, I won't be able to sing anymore. The Qilin girl seemed to be a good child, listening to her mother's words. Yu Yang suspected that this Qilin girl was purposely teasing him. If he answered yes or no, wouldn't that be the end of it? I'm tired. I'll temporarily borrow your house to rest for a while. The Qilin girl flew over and knocked Yu Yang to the ground. Yu Yang didn't even have the time to cry out in pain before she said to Yu Yang with grievance, it's fine if you don't welcome me, but it's very rude to refuse a guest to enter your house. Forget it. If you don't agree, I'll rush him myself. The Qilin girl didn't wait for Yu Yang's reaction and instantly turned into a rainbow light, entering Yu Yang's body. Yu Yang was speechless. It was fine if she didn't help in the fight, but she still wanted to borrow his body to rest. Who taught this girl? The great demon King Baruth gave a condition to Yu Yang. If you and Sky Law stay, we can let bygones be bygones and treat you as distinguished guests. If you leave, we will not hesitate to kill you on the spot without any conditions. I'll give you a minute. You could discuss this with Sky Law. If it wasn't for the fact that the Qilin girl knew about Heaven Realm, the 3 great demon kings and the 2 demon wizard kings would definitely not let Yu Yang and the Impatiens off. But now, they felt that this brat was a rare commodity, so they put him under house arrest and slowly clear up the matter of Heaven Realm. Before they finished their words, a colorful light suddenly flashed on Yu Yang's body. A young girl with a horn on her head appeared in front of Yu Yang, touching her pinky pitifully. "Your family's child is too tyrannical. He actually chased me out. Ah, I forgot to transform." After speaking, she returned to her Qilin form amidst the colorful light. The three great demon kings felt that this was a heaven-sent opportunity and immediately joined hands to attack. At the same time, they swooped down from the sky and joined hands to capture this holy beast that could transform easily. The two Lich Kings attacked Yu Yang and the Impatiens respectively. The focus was on restraining the Impatiens. Demon Marshal Duran, who was at a distance, took out the dark magic orb and continued to summon the dark whirlpool. With the power of the 5 great rancors in the demon abyss, it wasn't impossible to capture the other party in the dark whirlpool, the prison suppressing treasure. A clear cry that was more pleasant to the ears than the sounds of nature rang out, causing one's soul to tremble. Nirvana's flame soared into the sky. Yu Yang realized that this Nirvana flame was actually not ignited by him. However, what surprised him the most was that 2 creatures that he had never seen before had actually flown out from his body. They were very familiar to him. Chapter 297. Phoenixes, Golden Phoenixes. These were not the Western phoenixes that looked like firebirds, but 2 Eastern phoenixes that looked like celestial phoenixes. Their bodies shone brightly, and the Nirvana flame that they emitted was 10 times more powerful than the Nirvana flame that Yu Yang condensed. It shone with a golden light and looked extremely holy. Looking from the outside, these 2 phoenixes looked exactly the same no matter where they were. When they flew in the Nirvana flame pillar, they also circled around each other. Only now did Yu Yang realize. So the soul-shaking cry that he heard previously was the cry of this pair of phoenixes. However, he had never contracted a beast before. How could he have 2 phoenixes? Little Wen Li was given by Queen Vivian Li. Hui Tai Lang was picked up, and Bloody Queen was contracted by herself. All of the beasts had their own origins, but only this pair of phoenixes appeared. This made Yu Yang very confused. Where did they come from? Could it be that these phoenixes were guardian beasts given by the divine grimoire, like a phantom? However, long before he contracted a divine grimoire, Yu Yang remembered that he had heard that kind of heavenly cry before, and it was not just once. Could it be? Could it be the same as the heavenly sword goddess? Yu Yang's thoughts flashed. Could it be that these phoenixes were the same as the heavenly sword goddess and lived in his chinquin bag? Or could it be that they were phoenix eggs that hatched later on, so they were also his beasts? If this was really the case, could there be other treasures in his chinquin bag? When the 3 great demon kings and the 2 Lich Kings saw the descent of the phoenixes, their attacks paused slightly. When they looked again, they realized that these beasts that they had never seen before did not seem to be strong beasts, but more like pet beasts for ornamental purposes. They immediately joined hands to attack again, but this time they changed their focus to capturing Yu Yang. This was because even if they were ornamental beasts, it was not easy to bathe in Nirvana flame. They did not want any unforeseen events, so they decided to capture Yu Yang first, then slowly interrogate him. If it was a minute ago, Yu Yang would definitely carry impatience and run away. But now, things were different. When the phoenix appeared, Yu Yang immediately felt that his body was filled with the energy of Nirvana's flame. There was a feeling that the energy was about to gush out and would not be satisfied until it was released. It turned out that the movements of the 3 great demon kings were extremely fast, like lightning. Yu Yang couldn't even see their waving sharp claws with his level 5 divine vision. Now he could easily capture the attack trajectories of the 3 demon kings and 2 Lich Kings. Before they even arrived, Yu Yang's body automatically reacted and moved according to his heart. It was as if there was a mysterious force guiding him, and he automatically intercepted the Demon King's attacks. The Nirvana flame filled his body. This kind of fire energy that could purify everything in the world under the support of the 2 phoenixes was like a volcanic eruption. Yu Yang brandished his fist, first blocking the great demon king Baruth's sharp claws. Initially, Yu Yang thought that it would be very strenuous for him to block the demon king's claw with a single punch. He did not expect that he would be able to block the demon king's claw so easily. The great demon king Baruth was instantly dumbfounded. This brat didn't even have 1% of his strength, yet he could actually block his sharp claws? Get lost! Seeing this, Yu Yang was naturally ecstatic. His left fist carried the power of the Nirvana flame and completely blocked the demon king, Hot Exion's claw. At the same time, he also kicked Lich King Grun, who had turned around to attack Impatience. The joint attack of the three strongest warriors in the Demon Abyss was actually blocked by Yu Yang alone. Forget about the Demon Kings and Lich Kings. Even Yu Yang himself couldn't believe this result. With the support of the Phoenix's Nirvana Flame, he was actually able to fight against three Demon King-level warriors in the Demon Abyss. What kind of concept was this? If Yu Yang didn't have the support of the Phoenix, he wouldn't even be able to fight against one of them. At most, he could only be an assistant to Impatience, coordinate with her attacks, or use his Binding Chain's inherent skill and innate invisible sword chi to launch a sneak attack. Yin-Yang Extremes, Spherical Beheader, Frost Arrow, First Slash, Earth-Splitting Slash, and other combat skills were useful against Demon Generals, Demon Commanders, and Demon Marshals. They could even be used against innate level 3 and below. However, when used against Demon Kings who were at least innate level 8 and above, it was completely useless. Instead, it was a weakness. Baruth, Hot Exion, and Grun weren't any weaker than Shun Tion and the Thousand Goblin Sect leader. Previously, when Yu Yang and Impatience joined forces, they barely managed to defeat Shun Tion and the Ghastly Shadow. At that time, the main force was Impatience. Later on, when Yu Yang fought against Baruth alone, although he couldn't dodge to save the Qilin, Yu Yang understood that even if he had the space and time to fight, he still wouldn't be able to defeat Baruth. Furthermore, now that the three Demon Kings and two Lich Kings were supported by the Dark Whirlpool, their power had increased by several folds. Yu Yang was able to fight against two Demon Kings and one Lich King by himself. Impatience, who was preparing to use all her power to fight to the death, was completely dumbfounded. She knew that this brat was abnormal, but she didn't expect him to be abnormal to this extent. Fighting against three Demon King rankers alone, she knew that she could do it when she was at her peak, but she definitely wouldn't be able to do it so easily. When fighting against three Demon Kings, if one wasn't careful, one would definitely be at a disadvantage and injured. How could it be like this brat now, blocking the attacks of the Demon Kings with just his punches and kicks? This was too unbelievable. Unless it was Ji Zun, no human warrior could fight against three Demon Kings so easily. The other great Demon King, who didn't fight against Yu Yang before, but Yu Yang recognized him as Jin. While he was in shock, he was forced back by Impatience's jade-like palm. As for the Lich King that Yu Yang didn't recognize, he was in a more tragic state. He was a top-notch existence among the undead spirits in the Demon Abyss, but he was sent flying by the Qilin. Yu Yang could even hear the crisp sound of his ribs breaking. In front of human warriors, he was a powerful Lich King. However, in front of the naive Qilin, he was just a slightly taller skeleton. Baruth, Hot Exion, Jin, and Grun all had shocked expressions on their faces. They weren't shocked that their comrade was sent flying by Qilin, but they were shocked that Yu Yang was able to fight against the three of them alone. They all knew Yu Yang's strength. Even if he had the world-exterminating wheel and Nirvana Flame, this young human would definitely not be able to defeat a Demon King ranker. This was because he hadn't grown up yet. His future potential might be Ji Zun, but his current realm was still below innate level 3. If he wasn't different from the others, a level 3 innate ranker would be killed instantly if he met a Demon King. Now, that he was able to fight against three Demon Kings alone, this was definitely not his strength. It was the support of those two mystical beasts. What exactly were those two mystical beasts? Where did he get them from? If he could also get this kind of support, entering the Heaven Realm wouldn't be a dream. The three Demon Kings quickly retreated. Lich King Grun rushed to his comrade's side and asked, Ma Fa, how do you feel? I only broke one rib. My demon heart is fine. The Lich King, called Ma Fa, shook his head with a serious expression. Grun, I thought of a legend. Dongfang Immortal Tribe. Demon Marshal Duran was the first to react. Yes. Demon King Ha Xin also stared at Yu Yang with his blazing eyes and nodded in affirmation. Only the legendary Dongfang Immortal Tribe, as long as a beast comes from there, would have such a strong support without any side effects. I know the Eastern Goblin Tribe's Osprey. He once told me that the Dongfang Immortal Tribe has a special kind of holy power within their bodies. It can support internally and purify externally. Even within the same tribe, it is a very terrifying power. It is said that the humans of the soaring dragon continent are the same as the Eastern Goblin Tribe. They were exiled from the Dongfang Immortal Tribe during the ancient times. They are different from the humans of the Qilin continent, Tianfeng continent, Kaluo continent, and other foreign realms. I dare say that this brat has inherited the ancient bloodline and awakened the ancient bloodline, obtaining the abilities of the ancient warriors. Otherwise, he would definitely not be able to reach innate at the age of 20, let alone fight against us. Is it really like that? The Impatience's eyes looked as if she wanted to strip Yu Yang naked and study him. Maybe it's like that, Yu Yang replied. Of course, he couldn't say that he was a guy from another world, nor could he completely deny that he had not awakened any ancient bloodline. Forget about outsiders. Even he himself wouldn't believe those kinds of words. Now that he threw out the ancient bloodline and ancient awakening to scare people, these few demon abyss bosses would probably have some misgivings. Yu Yang didn't know how long the nirvana flame in his body could last. If it disappeared, he and the Impatiens would have no choice but to escape. As expected, when he said that, the expressions of the three great demon kings, two Lich Kings, and Demon Marshal Duran changed. Doubt was one thing, affirmation was another. As expected, this brat had awakened the ancient bloodline and obtained the potential of the ancient warriors. Baruth knew that the best thing to do now was to get rid of this brat at all costs. But the biggest problem now was not how to defeat him who had received a strong boost, nor was it how to defeat Sky Law who was wholeheartedly protecting him, nor was it how to swindle the confused holy beast's help. It was how to deal with those two beautiful beasts who looked like they didn't have any attack power, but in reality, as long as they had killing intent in their hearts, they would give off a feeling that they would be instantly killed. Baruth didn't know why these two beautiful beasts didn't attack, but he could tell with his Demon King's super senses. As long as he had killing intent in his heart and intended to attack, he would feel a terrifying sense of danger. He felt that he would be instantly killed by them at any time. If they didn't have killing intent in their hearts, then these two beautiful beasts would look completely harmless. Baruth felt that he couldn't imagine the hidden strength of these two beautiful beasts. They weren't creatures from his world at all. Only a world higher than Heaven Realm would have such magical existences. The Qilin girl turned back into a young girl with horns. She was estimated to be around 14 or 15 years old. She looked tender and cute, with golden horns on her light green hair. The horns weren't long, nor were they sharp. They looked as harmless as tender shoots. However, when Lich King Ma Fa was hit by the horns just now, one of his ribs that was 100 times harder than a bone dragon's was immediately broken. If he didn't dodge fast enough, Lich King Ma Fa's ribs wouldn't just be broken. She was wearing a light green one-piece robe, and there were some auspicious clouds drawn on it. It looked extremely beautiful. Her smooth and round shoulders were slightly exposed, and her two snow-white arms were tender and lovely. When Yu Yang saw them, he really wanted to give them a big kiss. Looking at her white jade feet, she was wearing red shoes with a pink ball at the front of the shoes. It looked very similar to the shoes of the child-giving fairy girls that Yu Yang had seen in the New Year's paintings. This Qilin girl looked cute and harmless, very suitable to be raised as a kitten. She could even be used to warm the bed at night. But her power was incredible. If she was angry and flipped out, Yu Yang reckoned that he wouldn't have many bones left. It's those two little girls who kicked me out just now. What kind of father are you? The Qilin girl pulled on Yu Yang's sleeves and complained to him. She even looked as if she would cry if he didn't do something about it. 2 little girls? Mine? Yu Yang sweated profusely when he heard this. When did he have 2 phoenix daughters? Could it be that the old Taoist priest kidnapped other people's daughters and framed him? If the real phoenix parents came looking for him, he would probably be burned to ashes with just a breath. Not to mention that he gave birth to these 2 daughters. Even if he gave birth to them, he couldn't do anything to them. Furthermore, the one in the wrong was not the 2 of them, but the lost Qilin girl who barged into other people's house. The 2 golden and dazzling immortal phoenixes were originally circling in the sky. They seemed to understand the Qilin girl's complaint and immediately cried out in dissatisfaction. Their heavenly voices rang in his heart, shaking his soul. It seemed like they were going to dive down and teach the complaining Qilin girl a lesson. Without waiting for the 2 phoenixes to dive down, the Qilin girl immediately ran away and disappeared. Her speed was so fast that even with his level 5 divine vision, Yu Yang couldn't see her clearly. Demon Kings and Goblin Witch Kings, sorry for disturbing you today. I'll treat you to a cup of tea when you're free. Yu Yang picked up Phoenix Fairy Beauty and ran away, chasing after the Qilin girl who had lost her way. Regardless of whether she could be used to warm his bed, he would bring this Qilin girl home first. She couldn't go back anyway, so he would take care of her for a while on behalf of her mother. Should we chase? Lich King Grun realized that the 2 phoenixes were still circling in the sky, staring at everyone. Anyone who had the intention to chase would feel the terrifying feeling of being attacked. Forget it. Demon King Ha Exen, who was usually the most courageous in battle, swallowed his saliva and shook his head to reject this foolish action. It was not a good idea to start a battle with beasts that he couldn't defeat. Furthermore, the other party didn't have the intention to attack. Forcing them to attack was a foolish action that would bring about one's own destruction. Sure enough, when Demon King Ha Exen said this, the 2 phoenixes immediately turned into colorful lights and streaked across the sky, disappearing quickly. Their speed was so fast that even the 3 demon kings who had caused a commotion in Tongtian Tower were ashamed. Compared to these 2 beautiful beasts, the 3 demon kings estimated that even if they tried their best, they would only be able to eat the dust behind them. They weren't even on the same level of speed. That was the difference between a meteor and a firefly. What made them sweat profusely was that after a while, the 3 demon marshals who were so scared that they almost lost their minds came back and reported a piece of news. Their ally Duan Mu Longcheng had been killed in an instant. Who killed him in an instant? Baruth was shocked when he saw the demon marshals. Strange, could it be that Sky Law had personally killed them? 2 exceptionally beautiful flying beasts that looked like pet beasts. One of the demon marshals thought that Baruth didn't believe him, so he exaggerated and described it. Of course, his description was very long, but the process was very simple. It was nothing more than Duan Mu Longcheng sending out an enemy to stop them and delay the Demon King's reinforcements. In the end, he was killed. Where's the corpse? Ha Exen still wanted to collect his ally's corpse as usual. Completely vaporized. Not to mention the corpse. Even his soul had been purified and destroyed by the Nirvana flame. Nothing was left. The demon marshal replied. The 3 demon kings and the 2 lich kings looked at each other. They knew how strong Duan Mu Longcheng was. He was a level 6 and 8, and he could kill him in an instant. Luckily, they didn't attack him just now, and the 2 beautiful beasts didn't take the initiative to attack him. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Chapter 298. When Yi Yang was fighting with the great demon king, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others were also fighting hard in the Yu Clan castle. Among them, the one who was having the easiest time was Xue Tanlang. Although the fake 3rd young master was a level 6 advanced elder, he was forced to become a level 6 elder by an innate and not by training. Against a genius like Xue Tanlang, who had been training hard since he was young, not only was he unable to gain any advantage, he was also restricted and could not display even half of his strength. If the fake 3rd young master did not have the help of the 2 Zijin Kingdom generals, he would have been defeated by Shui Tianlang long ago. It was impossible for the fake third young master to win. Shui Tianlang's personal strength, battle skills, and beast attributes were all his weaknesses. Because of Yu Yang's appearance, as a super genius and the hope of the Shui clan, Shui Tianlang was under a lot of pressure. After a year of torturous training, his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. With his sister's guidance, the fake third young master was not his match at all. If not for wanting to capture this fake third young master alive to clear his name as his future brother-in-law, Shui Tianlang would have won long ago. As for the two generals sent by Zijin Kingdom, their strength was not even comparable to the fake third young master. They were exhausted by Shui Tianlang's high-speed snowstorm and could not catch up at all. Fatty Hai and Yi Kong fought the hardest. The two of them attacked the fake Yu Qiu together and suffered greatly from the fake Yu Qiu's battle skill heaven, destroying Earth Slash. Yu Qiu was fake, but the battle skill he had learned was real. If not for the fact that their beasts had extremely strong defense, and that one of them had contracted a Thunder Mammoth and the other had leveled up from bronze-ranked to gold-ranked, both of them would have been beaten to the ground by the fake Yu Qiu. The Li brothers tried to help, but they couldn't split their attention because the two demon generals who had come out from the teleportation circle were surrounding them with a large group of demons. Fortunately, the other strongest demon general was instantly killed by Princess Qian Qian and Luo Hua. Otherwise, the Li brothers wouldn't be able to defend against this kind of endless and fearless group attack. Kill, kill. The Li brothers' eyes were bloodshot from the killing. The gold-ranked double-edged arrowhead weapons that they had just seized as spoils of war made them even more powerful. The two of them had killed close to 100 evil spirits, but there were even more demons pouring out of the portal. There was simply no way to kill them all. Although some of the Yu clan's guards couldn't see the situation clearly and didn't know whether to help Yu Qiu or Yu Yang, they knew that the demon race's invasion was definitely a disaster. There were also many people who picked up their weapons and fought against the evil spirits of the demon race together. Some of the stronger ones could even kill a few low-level evil spirits. The Yu Clan Castle's martial training plaza was in a complete mess. Many people were fighting in confusion. Other than the Yu Clan's guards, there were also a small number of Zijin Kingdom's elite soldiers who would pick up their weapons and fight against the demons. The reason might be that the demons did not differentiate between friend and foe after they came out. They would kill anyone they saw. Hence, they were forced to fight for their lives. Lin Lei and Lin Miao's strength could at most bully the weakest green-skin monsters and yellow-skin monsters. They couldn't even touch the stronger ones, especially Lin Miao. Once he saw a strong, evil spirit appear, he would be so scared that he would run far away. Or he would dance, roll, and crawl while screaming, luring the demons towards the Zijin Kingdom's elite soldiers. In reality, this method of luring trouble to others had really caused the death of many elite soldiers. Princess Sisai versus the 100 Transformations Demon Elder. The 1,000 Goblin Sect's 100 Transformations Demon Elder was very strong. She was a level 8 Emperor, and her strength was already close to a lesser innate. If it was Fatty Hai or Yi Kong, they would probably be beaten to a pulp in less than 10 moves. However, Princess Sisai, who had been purified by Nirvana Flame, tempered by ancient runes, and trained in body fusion, with Yu Yang, had already dared to fight against an innate rancor even though she had not broken through to the innate realm. Furthermore, she had even injured her opponent. It could be seen how powerful her attacks were. The 100 Transformations Demon Elder's advantage lay in her speed. She leaped up and down to dodge the attacks, not daring to face Princess Sisai's great sword head-on. At the same time, her sharp claws carried a deadly poison that could seal one's throat. Princess Sisai had to be careful when dealing with it. City Mistress Fallen Flowers, Yu Yu and Inan had joined hands to fight against the 1,000 Goblin Sect's newly promoted 100 Wings, 100 Eyes, and 100 Claws Demon Elders. These three Demon Elders' strength was far weaker than the 100 Transformations Demon Elder. They only had the strength of an Elder. If City Mistress Fallen Flowers' Aurora Light hit them, she would definitely be able to kill one of them in an instant. Although the three demon elders were very famous, their strength could only suppress Yu. Even Anan, who had a gold-ranked beast spirit mirror, couldn't gain the upper hand against them. Once Anan's special ability was unleashed, any demon elder would probably go crazy. She was looking for the best opportunity, especially the 100 Eyes demon elder, who was mainly using the cat eyes beast. He had already gradually walked into the death trap that Anan had created. He was preparing to die in the dream of death. The shadow in his heart kept appearing, causing him to gradually lose his rationality. Among the enemies, the strongest one was none other than the Marquis of Zijin. Shui Wuxia had personally fought against this strong opponent. Other than her, there was no one else who could be the Marquis of Zijin's opponent. Facing this strong opponent, Shui Wuxia would rather fight against an innate level 1 opponent herself than fight against this guy who was full of sinister schemes. The Marquis of Zijin, the Demon Abyss Prince who had hidden his strength, was the future Demon King's successor. A few months ago, he had fought against Grandma Qi and won. Under a situation where his battle power was severely depleted, he had fought against Yu Yang and Shui Wuxiao again. In the end, he still almost killed Yu Yang and Shui Wuxiao that day. Yu Yang had also learned the space teleportation skill from him. "I'm not interested in fighting with you." The Marquis of Zijin teleported out of the Yu clan castle. Then scram. Shui Wuxia also used light wind teleportation and chased after him closely. The Marquis of Zijin dodged Bloody Queen Red's attack and picked up the demon innate Qi Liao's head before Hui Tai Lang could. Hui Tai Lang was so angry that his hair stood on end. Just now, he had fought off the enemies with great difficulty. Before he could even swallow the spoils of war, a demon's head had actually been picked up by this guy. That was his nourishment. The furious Hui Tai Lang pounced towards the Marquis of Zijin fiercely. In the sky, the Reaper Mantis and Bloody Queen Red swooped down at the same time. The barbarian Cow Shadow and Thorny Flower Demoness also flanked him from the left and right. If it was another enemy, they would definitely die without a proper burial ground. However, this Marquis of Zijin had a way to escape. He did not rush to teleport away. Instead, he summoned his grimoire and raised a shield to block Hui Tai Lang's attack. He summoned his beasts one after another, attracting the attention of Hui Tai Lang and the Reaper Mantis, who were fond of killing. Shui Wuxia noticed that this guy did not summon his beast from his grimoire. Instead, he took out a summoning crystal to summon his beasts. Her heart sank slightly. She remembered Yu Yang's telepathic message before the battle started. This Marquis of Zijin might not be here to help the fake Yuqiu. He might be here to mess things up, or he might be about to level up to an 8, but he lacks something essential. He might need an item, or learn some kind of innate ranker's battle skill. Shui Wuxia felt that Yu Yang's words made sense, especially when she saw the Marquis of Zijin pick up Qi Liao's broken head. She was even more certain of her judgment. That demon innate Qi Liao's head was definitely an essential item for the Marquis of Zijin to level up to an 8. Goodbye. I'm very happy with your gifts. If there's a chance in the future, I will return it to you 100 times more. I swear on the name of the future Demon King. The Marquis of Zijin opened a golden teleportation scroll and scratched a few bloody marks on his chest and face with his sharp claws. The Bloody Queen Red already had enough intelligence to judge the enemy's actions, but she still couldn't understand the deeper meaning behind the Marquis of Zijin's actions. The small golden teleportation door opened and 3 men flashed out. One of them was a tall and mighty innate ranker. Shui Wuxia could recognize him at first glance. He was one of 5 great consecrators of the Zijin kingdom. He was also an innate ranker. This innate ranker was called Lu Wei and was even the Minister of Internal Affairs of the Zijin kingdom. He was originally from the small Yu clan and was a consecrator of the Yu clan king. Afterwards, he betrayed his master and defected to the Zijin kingdom. Afterwards, he personally led an army and trampled over the Yu clan, seizing all of the Yu clan king's concubines and daughters as his own. He became the world's most notorious traitor who betrayed his master and defected to the enemy. This was because the Yu clan king's youngest daughter was an unregistered disciple of the Northern Moon Fairy Pavilion. She was only 8 years old, and the world didn't know that her identity was special. After she was raped and killed by Lu Wei, the Northern Moon Fairy Pavilion sent out 2 great elders to chase after Lu Wei. Under the obstruction of the Zijin Kingdom and Western Lion Pagoda warriors, the 2 great elders were heavily injured, but they still forcefully castrated Lu Wei, allowing him to escape with his worthless life. Because of this, the Northern Moon Fairy Pavilion announced that they would never accept a female disciple from the Zijin Kingdom. The world didn't know the reason, and thought that the Zijin Kingdom king had once disrespected the Northern Moon Fairy Pavilion. Nobody knew that he was actually protecting a scum like Lu Wei, causing the Northern Moon Fairy Pavilion to be furious. The world thought that Lu Wei had been executed, but Lu Wei changed his name to Gongyu and became the Minister of Internal Affairs of the Zijin Kingdom Palace. The 2 people behind Lu Wei had fair skin. Although they were male, they were as pretty as girls. They were Lu Wei's most beloved male pets, and they followed him everywhere he went. After Lu Wei's painstaking long-term training, these 2 male pets also had the strength of elders. Their killing methods were extremely vicious, and they could easily wipe out an entire family. The world's warriors secretly called them chrysanthemum twin spear dogs, but of course they didn't dare to do so on the surface, and only called them chrysanthemum twin spear generals. Master Ho, how did you get injured? Who was so daring to hurt Master Ho's priceless body? Lu Wei looked towards the sky, as if he was ignoring everything around him. As for the Marquis of Zijin, he only cupped his hands slightly, as a form of greeting to the Marquis of Zijin. Then he asked in a tone that was as soft as a woman's, but it was too sickening to listen to. Although Shui Wuxiao was a girl, she still shivered when she heard these words. Luckily, the food in her stomach had already been digested. Otherwise, she would have vomited from this disgusting voice. The Marquis of Zijin's left and right temples also had blue veins throbbing, as if he couldn't stand this fellow. However, he still pretended to be injured on the surface and coughed twice. I'm injured and need to recuperate urgently. It's hard for me to fight again, so I'll leave everything to you, head chief. Lu Wei smiled and nodded. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I'll definitely do everything for you beautifully. I won't let you down, Master Ho. The Marquis of Zijin's body swayed, and he almost fell down. Luckily, his legs supported him in time. He hurriedly opened a teleportation scroll and left as if he was escaping. How do you want to die? You should also know that I hate beautiful women the most. Those who are prettier than me must all die. Little chrysanthemum, little flower, what are you waiting for? These are all good dogs. Wait for me to injure them. Then you can form a contract with them. As for those women, I'll skin those who need to be skinned and those who need to be broken into pieces. You guys do everything beautifully for me. If you guys dare to cheat on me, I won't allow it. When Lu Wei said this, Hui Tai Lang immediately vomited, vomiting until his whole body cramped. Could it be that this fellow is the slut that Master is talking about? Bloody Queen Red pointed at Lu Wei in sudden realization and asked her future mistress, Shui Wuxia. Slut? Yeah, is a slut tasty? The thorny flower demoness didn't speak, but the expression in her big eyes was exactly what she meant. It's not like that, slut. A slut is the kind that makes you want to beat him up fiercely. He's not food, he's not. Ah, forget it. You can eat him later. Bloody Queen Red originally didn't like the thorny flower demoness eating people, but she felt that the thorny flower demoness ate Lu Wei. Then she would be able to vent her anger. Hence, she didn't object to the thorny flower demoness eating people for the first time. I agree. Shui Wuxia also nodded in agreement. This was also the first time in her life that she felt that eating people was a good idea. Woof, woof, woof. Hui Tai Lang rejected. He felt that if he ate this kind of slut, he might get diarrhea. He refused to eat Lu Wei into his stomach. Boom, 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 boom. The barbarian cow shadow on man's actions were the most practical. She released her aura and stomped on the ground, charging towards Lu Wei, who was an innate. She swung her fist and punched. Of course, no one was slower than her. In the sky, the Reaper Mantis and the Bloody Queen attacked at the same time. Countless thorny flowers drilled out from the ground. That was the masterpiece that Yu Yang had designed for the thorny flower demoness, the Great Thorny Flower Demonic Tree. The Great Thorny Flower Demonic Tree that had once beaten the 30-meter-tall king of Blacklight into submission, once again made its move. The Great Thorny Flower Demonic Tree was formed from thousands of huge thorny flower vines. Hui Tai Lang was on the left, the Golden Beast was on the right, and the future Mistress Shui Wuxia, with lightning in one hand and ice in the other, attacked from the front and back with Aman Innate. How many innate rankers had everyone helped Yu Yang kill? Could innate be awesome? Couldn't innate speak disgustingly? Couldn't innate be despicable? Hui Tai Lang felt a little regretful. If he could talk like the Bloody Queen Red, he would definitely tell this slut not to be too arrogant. Just like what his master had said. Don't act cool. You'll be struck by lightning if you act cool. Chapter 299. Kill her. In the Yu Clan castle, 2 demon generals and 2 Zijin kingdom generals surrounded and attacked Yubing. This kind of strange scene of demons and humans joining hands to attack a girl was probably a rare occurrence in 100 years. At first, no matter if it was the demon generals or the Zijin kingdom generals, they didn't want to join hands and look for their own opponents. However, they quickly realized that under this plant-type girl's attacks, the demon army had suffered heavy losses. If she continued to massacre like this, even the demons that came out from the teleportation gate would not be enough to kill her. The 2 demon generals and the 2 Zijin kingdom generals had no choice but to join hands and attack her together. Even so, Yu Bing still controlled the Treant defenders and massacred the demon army in large numbers. After her brother's careful guidance, Yu Bing was no longer the unfortunate widow who was bullied by others. She was still stubborn and courageous, but her battle power and confidence had increased 100-fold. Tree Thorns. Yu Bing stood in the protective shield and controlled the 2 Treant defenders to massacre the demons. Hundreds of sharp tree thorns protruded from the ground. All the demons in the area were hit. Some of the smaller demons were pierced by the tree thorns and died on the spot. Some of the bigger demons were only pierced through their feet. Those who reacted quickly jumped up into the sky before their feet were pierced. However, no matter how injured they were, as long as the tree thorns pierced through any part of their skin, they would immediately fall to the ground and die. This was because the tree thorns had the poison Antire's poison. This was a skill that Yu Bing had obtained from the Scorpio Temple. It was a reward from the Scorpio Temple for leveling up her intense poison inherent skill. Low-level demons, even if they had a certain level of poison resistance, would not be able to withstand this kind of Antire's poison. As for the Zijin Kingdom soldiers, needless to say, those who were poisoned would die immediately. Whoosh, whoosh. Arrows and fireballs flew over one after another and smashed into the bodies of the 200-year-old Treant defenders. Everyone knew what plant-type beasts were afraid of. Ice, fire, and lightning were the 3 types of attacks. Among them, fire was the easiest to attack, especially the demon army. Their fire ability was ranked above demonic energy and poison. When the flames were burning on the body of the 100-years-old Treant, Yu Bing calmly summoned the Green Light Tree Demoness. The Green Light Tree Demoness had 3 skills: Green Rush, Revival, and Spirit Root. The green ball of light she released greatly buffed the Treant defenders. The burning flames were converted into energy, which then grew into branches and leaves. Most of the energy that attacked the Treant was converted by her. The Treant defender became taller, and its branches and leaves became more luxuriant. A demon general rushed forward to attack without any regard for his own safety. He was prepared to restrain the enemy and let his comrade accumulate an even larger fireball. Yu Bing immediately flew out of the light barrier. Right now, she was not only a summoner, but she was also proficient in combat techniques. Before the demon general could even attack, he had already been kicked in the face by Ji Yun Shu, who was in midair and fell heavily onto the ground. Fine. Yu Bing pointed her finger, and countless tree vines roots and roots surged out from the ground. Two Trant defenders wrapped around the demon general at the same time, beating him up. Countless tree thorns drilled out from the ground, firmly nailing the demon general to the ground. The green light tree demoness released her spirit root. After the two Trant defenders received the buff, their huge roots pierced through the demon general's body, forcibly absorbing the enemy's energy to replenish their own. The entire battle did not even last half a minute, but the demon general, who was originally a vigorous and powerful demon, had turned into a dried corpse that had lost all of its energy. The remaining demon general did not even dare to step forward to help, fearing that he would also fall into a dead end. Countless evil spirits threw their fire beads over, forming a rain of fire. However, to the battle-hardened Yubing, this rain of fire was just a drizzle. She controlled the Trant defender and leapt high up, passing through the gaps between the rain of fire and landing on top of the fire-throwing evil spirits. After trampling a few evil spirits to death, the Trant defender raised its huge tree arm high up and heavily smashed it down. The ground shook, even the houses not far away were shaking. The evil spirits that were smashed were turned into meat paste. The remaining evil spirits could not escape in time and were killed by the Trant defender. An especially tall evil spirit was even lifted up by the Trant defender and smashed into the wall far away. Boom! It smashed into a house and was buried alive by the collapsed bricks and wooden tiles of the house. While Fatty Hai and Yi Kong were still fighting bitterly, Yubing had already killed her way to the teleportation gate alone. She was unstoppable like a hot knife cutting through butter. The ferocious demons were utterly defeated in front of her. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Yubing's Trant defender began to attack the teleportation gate. As soon as the surrounding evil spirits got close, the Trant defender's deadly spikes would immediately activate. The evil spirits advanced wave after wave. Very quickly, Yubing killed them until their corpses littered the ground. Seeing this, the fake Yuchio immediately abandoned Fatty Hai and Yi Kong, these two stubborn opponents. He used the Armageddon slash, Earth-splitting slash, first slash, slashing towards Yubing's head. Yubing's figure flashed, miraculously dodging the slash. At the same time, a large number of tree vines and roots emerged from the ground, quickly wrapping around the fake Yuchio's calf. The fake Yuchio swung his blade and cut off the tree vines. Just as he regained his freedom, Yubing kicked the fake Yuchio's back. Her speed was so fast that even the fake Yuchio was shocked. Fatty Hai shouted, "Be careful," from afar. The fake Yuchio who had been kicked did not retreat, but advanced instead. A black pillar of light shot out from his left index finger, straight towards the middle of Yubing's eyebrows. At the most dangerous moment, Yubing tilted her body backwards, narrowly dodging this fatal attack. Taking advantage of the opportunity to retreat from the battle, the fake Yuchio chased after her at an extremely fast speed. Yubing's body continuously flipped in the air, causing the fake Yuchio's sword to hit nothing but air. He angrily kicked out, treacherously attacking Yubing's back. Yubing was hit. Her whole body flew more than 10 meters away, knocking a few evil spirits away. She was almost hit by the hammer-wielding demon general. Princess Sisai rushed over like lightning, throwing her giant sword to send the demon general flying, catching Yubing just in time. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai were so angry that they went berserk. Their eyes were bloodshot like hungry wolves as they pounced forward without a care for their own safety. The two of them didn't even care about the swords piercing into their flesh. Fatty Hai and Yi Kong used the special locking technique that they used to attack Kai Yang from the Seven Great Bears. This was specially designed by Yu Yang for them. It was used to deal with strong enemies that were hard to defeat or enemies that were extremely agile. The fake Yuchio's sword slashed on a Fatty Hai's shoulder, cutting deep into his bones. His sword pierced through Yi Kong's right rib, piercing through his back. The two of them disregarded everything and pounced forward, risking their lives. Their four hands grabbed onto the fake Yuchio's arms, exerting strength with their four legs, tripping the fake Yuchio to the ground. The fake Yu Chio's chi exploded, causing the two of them to spit out blood. However, Fatty Hai and Yi Kong held on, not letting go. The Li brothers rushed over, their sharp arrowheads piercing through the fake Yu Chio's legs. Boom! The fake Yu Chio roared in pain as he sent Fatty Hai and Yi Kong flying with his powerful strength and explosive power. Before he could leap up, the Li brothers abandoned the weapons in their hands and pounced on him like hungry wolves, locking his legs in a death grip. The fake Yu Chio's fists rained down on the Li brothers, shattering their ant soldier armors and breaking their ribs. However, the Li brothers gritted their teeth and held on. The two brothers were like a pair of giant pincers, locking onto the fake Yu Chio's legs. No matter how hard the fake Yu Chio attacked, they wouldn't let go. Go and die, you trash imposter. Fatty Hai howled madly, his whole body bathed in blood. He hugged the fake Yu Chio's body from behind, his legs clamping onto the fake Yu Chio's waist, his arms locking onto the fake Yu Chio's throat. You're looking for death. The fake Yu Chio elbowed Fatty Hai's left and right, breaking his ribs as he spat out blood. I'll let you be awesome. Yi Kong didn't have time to retrieve his weapon. He picked up a big rock and smashed it on the fake Yu Chio's head. The moment the fake Yu Chio fainted, he locked onto the fake Yu Chio's right arm. The fake Yu Chio hit Yi Kong's heavily injured left rib with his left hand, turning the fake Yu Chio's wound into a bloody mess. Yi Kong clenched his teeth and used all his strength to twist the fake Yu Chio's right arm, turning his body around. The originally elegant and handsome Prince of Tianluo was also fighting crazily. He had never cooperated with Yi Kong and the others before, but when he saw that Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, and the Li brothers couldn't subdue the fake Yu Chio, he shouted and flew over to help. He grabbed onto the fake Yu Chio's left arm, turning the fake Yu Chio around with the help of Yi Kong and the Li brothers. The fake Yu Chio's head smashed backwards, breaking Fatty Hai's nose and causing blood to flow out. Just as the five of them were about to successfully suppress the fake Yu Chio, the fake Yu Chio's body quickly transformed into a demon whose entire body was burning with raging flames. He was at least 5 meters tall and had incomparable strength. Even with the combined strength of Fatty Hai and the others, they were still slowly being turned around by him. In the sky, a meteor-like shadow flashed. Yu Bing raised a giant rod that Yi Kong threw away just now and smashed it heavily on the fake Yu Chio's head. Boom! She was sent flying by the fake Yu Chio's protective chi. Let me do it! Princess Sisai also abandoned the 100 Transformations demon elder who had been fighting with her. Her white tiger chi and sword chi exploded together as her giant sword slashed down with a destructive force. The fake Yu Chio, who had turned into a demon, spat out a beam of light from his mouth, breaking Princess Sisai's giant sword. Princess Sisai was furious. She changed her giant sword from a slash to a smash, smashing the head of the fake Yu Chio who had turned into a demon. The 100 Transformations demon elder's claws covered the sky as she prepared to save the fake Yu Chio. Behind her, the cold current was like a snowstorm in winter. The storm giant attacked with its tail. Even faster than the storm giant was Xue Tan Lang, who had frozen the fake third young master into an ice sculpture. The 100 Transformations demon elder dodged Xue Tan Lang's frontal attack and clawed at Xue Tan Lang's chest, almost digging out his heart. Noob, this cold air is nothing. How can a noob like you deal with me? You're still young. Learn a little. The 100 Transformations demon elder's speed was as fast as lightning. Xue Tan Lang was originally not her match, and after fighting the fake third young master, he was already exhausted. In a short while, he was forced to retreat step by step, unable to retaliate. The 100 Transformations demon elder turned around and saw that the fake Yu Chio's comrade was in a critical situation. Princess Sisai and Yu Bing were using their weapons to hit his head. Although the demon's head was extremely hard, it would definitely shatter after being hit for a long time. Unless I die, don't even think about going over. Xue Tan Lang clenched his teeth and attacked. He knew that he was not the 100 Transformations demon elder's opponent right now, but as long as he could drag on for another minute, the fake Uchiyo would definitely die. Scram, get out of my way. The 100 Transformations Demon Elder changed her sharp claws into a heavy palm strike. She continuously hit Shui Tanlang's chest and abdomen. She couldn't kill him in a short time, so she decided to send him flying and save her comrade first. Suddenly, there was a voice behind her that sounded like an ice bead bursting, emitting a bone-chilling aura of death. If he can't do it, what about me? The 100 Transformations Demon Elder turned around and saw that Shui Wuxia was standing behind her with blood flowing out from the corner of her mouth, staring at her coldly. She was so scared that she couldn't help but shiver. She cried out in fear. "Where's the Marquis of Zijin? Did you kill him?" Shui Wuxia shook her head and lightly wiped away the bloodstain at the corner of her mouth. "I only killed a bastard called Lu Wei. If you don't mind, I can send you down to accompany him. If you like eunuchs, that would be a good choice." As Shui Wuxia was speaking, the bloody Queen Red dove down from the sky and let out an extremely shrill scream that shook the soul. The 100 Transformations Demon Elder's eardrums exploded and her mind went blank. She fell into a state of dizziness. The Reaper Mantis's giant scythe slashed over like lightning and clamped onto the 100 Transformations Demon Elder's body. Meanwhile, the golden beast turned into a sharp sword while it was flying. Shui Wuxia stretched out her hand and caught it. She then spun out a beautiful sword light and slashed at the 100 Transformations Demon Elder's neck. At the same time, the barbarian Cow Shadow man jumped down from the sky and stomped on the fake Uchiyo's chest. His demonic body immediately caved in. Her two fists that had the strength of 10,000 kilograms smashed onto the fake Uchiyo's head like a meteor. At this place, the fake Uchiyo's defense had already reached its limit. Blood spurted out from his 5 orifices. He roared and sent Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, Prince of Tianluo, and the Li brothers flying. However, just as he stood up, the Thunder Mammoth and the Herculean Rhinoceros Beetle attacked him from the front and back. The huge forces collided with each other, and the fake Uchiyo's bones were all shattered. He fell to the ground in pain. Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, Prince of Tianluo, and the Li brothers were afraid that the fake Uchiyo wouldn't die, so they pounced on him and clamped his body tightly. The fake Uchiyo's demonic body struggled with all his might. However, he had already reached his limit. Under the continuous attacks of Yubing, Princess Sisai, and the barbarian Cow Shadow, his willpower, strength, and body had all collapsed. Huitai Lang pounced on him and dug out his demon heart with his sharp claws. In the end, under the attacks of Princess Sisai's White Tiger Chi and Sword Chi, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, the Li brothers, and the Prince of Tianluo managed to tear the fake Uchiyo's demonic body into a few pieces. The fake third young master, who had just been released from his frozen state, was scared out of his wits. He only cared about looking back at Shui Wuxia and the others, afraid that they would discover him. He tiptoed along the corner of the house and left. However, he didn't see that the thorny flower demoness was staring at his sneaky figure from the top of the city wall. Countless thorny flowers appeared from the ground under her summons. The fake third young master didn't even have the time to scream before he was swallowed by the thorny flower demoness. He struggled violently inside, but it was all in vain. There was only one fate for him, and that was to be digested as food. Shui Wuxia didn't participate in killing the fake Uchiyo. She raised the golden beast's illusory sword and destroyed the teleportation gate to the demon abyss. Seeing that the situation was hopeless, the two Zijin Kingdom's generals committed suicide in despair. The demon general still wanted to lead his troops to break out of the encirclement, but City Mistress Fallen Flowers chased after him. She released her Aurora Light, instantly killing a large number of demons. Even the demon general was turned into ashes. The Thousand Goblins sect's newly promoted 100-eyed demon elder had turned into a madman under Inan's spirit mirror's control. He attacked crazily with his comrade 100 Claws, and in the end, he self-destructed, perishing together with them. The only one who didn't manage to kill her opponent was Yu Yu. Her opponent was 100 Wings. With Yu Yu's current attack power, she could barely fight her opponent to a standstill. Furthermore, she was at a slight disadvantage. Luckily, City Mistress Fallen Flowers had been looking after her all this while, so she wasn't seriously injured. Yu Yu was more proficient in healing. Her current attack power was a new ability that Yu Yang had developed on her. Furthermore, her Storm Waves beast was more suitable for water battles. Her opponent was 100 Wings who could fly in the air, so of course she was at a disadvantage. Under the Bloody Queen's pursuit, 100 Wings couldn't even escape more than 2 kilometers before the Bloody Queen caught up to him. With a flash of the flame whip, 100 Wings' wings were broken, and he fell to the ground. The Bloody Queen swooped down. At the same time that the Banshee screams stunned 100 Wings, the gold-ranked dragon, slaying dagger, and I Destroyer dagger in her hands pierced deeply into 100 Wings' heart and forehead, killing him in one blow. When Yu Yang returned from the Demon Palace to the Yu Clan Castle's main gate, the battle had already ended. Looking around, it was a scene of devastation. Thick smoke rose from the Yu Clan Castle. Many of the houses that had collapsed were still burning. On the ground, corpses were strewn everywhere, and blood was flowing everywhere. At first, Yu Yang was still worried that the battle would not go smoothly. Suddenly, he heard waves of cheers coming from the Yu Clan Castle. He could even faintly hear Hui Tai Lang's unique howl. Yu Yang immediately relaxed. This battle was finally over. The process was very difficult, but the cheers could prove one thing. In the end, the battle was won. Little Wen Li's body floated out and obediently hugged Yu Yang's thigh. Her small body silently supported him. No matter if it was in battle or in daily life, she would always be by his side. They had always been together. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.